Chapter 846. Chapter 0845. Hiring a spokesperson. What does Zhao Qibing want to do? Could it be that he learned how to make money from you? Fatty Lai asked curiously. I'm afraid he lost a lot of money recently. He didn't have the initiative in the slums area, so he probably won't be able to make much money. So, it's understandable that he's thinking of other ways to make money. Linny could guess Zhao Qibing's intentions. That Yao Wang, he does have a way to treat people. This kind of thing has nothing to do with us. Yeah, let's ignore him then. It has nothing to do with us for now. Fatty Lai nodded. No matter how Zhao Qibing acted, as long as he didn't provoke Lin Yi, it wouldn't matter. Lin Yi just laughed it off because there were more important things waiting for him. The first batch of products from Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was about to hit the market. Let's not talk about him. Didn't you call me here to talk about the product? Lin, he had a lot of free time these few days. Tang Yan's problem was solved. He didn't know whether Zhong Pingliang and Jiang Wen were discharged or not, and Zhao Qibing had quieted down quite a bit. Zhou Ruoming fawned on Lin even more than when he saw his own father. This made Lin relax for a few days. Other than accompanying Miss and Shu to and from school, he would only see Tang Yan during breaks. His days were peaceful and leisurely. This was the life that Lin yearned for. There were no conflicts every day, and he could protect the people he loved, quietly savoring the little things in life. Lin didn't know how long these days would last. If it was possible, Lin hoped that it would last forever. However, although life was peaceful and it made Lin feel comfortable, Lin still kept his guard up. Yu Kuan went back. No matter what, Lin had a feeling that he was leaving a threat behind. It was just that House Yu hadn't made any moves yet. As for Zhao Qibing, Lin didn't believe that he would just let it go like this. Who knew if he would come up with some weird tricks to deal with him? Yes, the first batch of our injury medicine is ready and can be launched at any time, Fatty Lai said. However, when our company opened, we didn't hold any ceremony. Although Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company is quite famous outside, we still need to hold a product launch for the release of a new product. Press conference? Why is it so troublesome? Linny didn't think that launching a product into the market required such a complicated process. Yeah, it's just a way to show the company's strength. It's just like Qibing real estate company's building completion ceremony. Fatty Lai was an expert in business, so it was natural for him to be able to make sense of it. It's just that we ruined his completion ceremony. If that's the case, then it's up to you. Lin felt that he wasn't doing his job as a hands-off boss. He knew nothing about business. If it weren't for Fatty Lai, a follower he'd met halfway, it would have been hard for him and Xu Amin to run the company. All right, then I've decided. Fatty Lai nodded, because our company's publicity is almost done. Now is the best time to go public. Once our product is launched, there will be a lot of media outlets promoting us for free. But according to the usual practice of many companies, they usually hire celebrities to boost the popularity of their new product launch. Celebrities? You know them? Lin, he wasn't interested in celebrities, and he didn't watch TV. To him, celebrities weren't as cute as the girls at home. I don't know. Fatty Lai smiled bitterly, but money makes the world go round. As long as we're willing to pay, it's easy to hire a spokesperson. Oh, it's up to you then. Linny shrugged and said indifferently. Then, boss, do you have any good candidates in mind? Fatty Lai knew that many companies hired celebrities to be their spokesperson not only to bring popularity to their products, but also because the boss of the company was a fan of the celebrity. So, Fatty Lai wanted to ask Lin which celebrity he liked. Candidate. Linny paused. He didn't know any celebrities, so how could he know? But suddenly, a name popped up in his head. Is there a celebrity called Su Shirhan? Lin remembered buying Su Shirhan's album for Miss and Shu. He also saw Miss and Shu watching her concert in the villa. She was quite an eye candy, jumping around on the stage. But he didn't know if she would still look good after removing her makeup. Ah, yes. Fatty Lai was shocked when he heard the name. He nodded. Boss, Su Shirhan is a top singer. Fatty Lai calculated in his heart. How much would it cost to hire Su Shirhan to be their spokesperson? Su Shirhan was super popular right now. A lot of middle school students were her fans. Her status and status must be high. But since it was Lin Yi who suggested it, Fatty Lai didn't say anything. He just had to try his best. Oh, then invite her. Lin Yi didn't think that Su Shirhan was powerful, so he didn't think much of it. He only heard that Miss Shu and Tang Yun were her fans. Lin Yi just wanted to invite them to have some fun. As for Lin Yi himself, he didn't even look at celebrities in detail. Naturally, he wasn't her fan. Okay, I'll try my best. Fatty Lai nodded and noted it down. All right, boss. Are you going to the product launch? Me? I'll pass. Lin Yi shook his head. This medical company was just for fun. Lin Yi wanted to use it to earn some pocket money. But as his friendship with Miss Shu deepened, Lin Yi didn't feel like he was living under someone else's roof anymore. Although, Lin Yi didn't know if it counted as friendship. Anyway, Missy didn't look down on him anymore. Furthermore, Missy was someone who didn't care much about money. So now that the medical company was established, it was a public service. It was impossible to earn money in a short period of time. The price of medicine was set low, so it could compete with Dr. Kang's golden creation. Fatty Lai knew that Lin Yi always kept a low profile, so he asked before. Since Lin Yi didn't want to participate, he didn't force him. He continued, Boss, about Kong Xiaobo and fun, I've arranged it like this. What do you think? Chapter 847. Company of Swindlers Kong Xiaobo. I've arranged for him to be the company's intern vice president, mainly in charge of marketing, Fatty Lai said. The current executive vice president in charge of marketing is a friend of mine, and he's only here to help out. With him guiding Kong Xiaobo, I believe it won't take long for him to graduate as an apprentice. All right, I'll leave it to you. Lin Yi didn't expect Fatty Lai to arrange things so well, and it surprised Lin Yi. As for Xiaofan, I'll arrange for her to work in the quality inspection department, but the position of quality inspection manager is empty at the moment. It won't be too late to arrange for her to be the manager after she gets used to it, Fatty Lai explained. You've thought it through. Lin Yi was a classic example of nepotism, but whether it was Kong Xiaobo or Xiaofan, they wouldn't become arrogant because of this relationship. Although Kong Xiaobo was Lin Yi's follower, wasn't the company's general manager Fatty Lai also Lin Yi's follower? With Kong Xiaobo's grades, he wouldn't be able to get into any university, at most a third-rate one. It wasn't because he didn't study hard, but because Kong Xiaobo wasn't talented enough. He wasn't as smart as the Miss and Yushu, and he didn't have much of a heart. No matter how hard he studied, he could only maintain a below-average standard. Songshan Songshan was a good school, but that didn't mean that every student could get into a famous university. Students like Xiaobo, who weren't good at studying, could get into a better university if they had some connections or money, but those who didn't have any connections or money could only get into a third-rate university. Kong Xiaobo had thought things through a while ago, so he decided to put his studies aside and put his energy into managing the company. He could just get into a third-rate university to pass his time, and when the company had some results, he could study for an MBA or something. It wasn't a bad way out. Evidently, Kong Fu and Kong Mu had thought it through as well. What was the point of studying hard for 10 years? Wasn't it just a good job in the future? Now, he had a job, and it was a deputy general manager. In this day and age, even if you were a PhD student who had returned from abroad without any experience or connections, it was impossible to give you a deputy general manager position. After Lin Yi left, Fatty Lai started looking for connections and connections. The contact information of the celebrities in the entertainment industry might be a secret to the common people, but it wasn't the same for the rich businessmen. They were always looking for endorsements, and the entertainment companies were more than willing to work with them. Fatty Lai quickly found the entertainment company Su Shirhan belonged to and contacted her manager. Needless to say, the manager of a superstar like Su Shirhan was very arrogant. She picked up the phone and hurriedly asked, "Who are you? What's the matter?" The way she spoke made Fatty Lai frown, but he still said patiently, "Hello, I'm from a company, and I want to cooperate with Miss Su Shirhan." The manager's tone softened a little after hearing that Fatty Lai was from a company, but it was still cold. "Which company are you from? What kind of strength? Why would you want to collaborate with Miss Su? Are you attending an event or endorsing a product?" The manager couldn't be blamed for being cold. There were a lot of people calling to harass Su Shirhan, and the manager couldn't be more annoyed every day. Before confirming the identity of the person calling, she couldn't let her guard down. Hello, I'm the CEO of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, Lai Changyi. I'm looking for Miss Su Shirhan to endorse our company's product, and also to attend a new product launch. Fatty Lai could see that the manager was a straightforward person, so he didn't waste any time and said his purpose directly. Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company? The manager was startled and asked, "Is it Guan Xiumin's company?" "Yes. Miracle Dr. Guan is Guan Xiumin." Fatty Lai nodded. It seemed like the manager knew about his company. Guan Xiumin's company. Isn't it a scammer company? What Miracle Dr. Guan? It's a scammer. The manager's tone turned nasty, and before Fatty Lai could say anything, he hung up the phone with a bang. Do. Fatty Lai looked at the phone and didn't know if he should laugh or cry. How did Guan Xiumin become a scammer? His own company. How did it become a scammer company? When did he offend Su Shirhan's manager? Wang Sis, why are you talking so loudly? Why are you calling him a scammer? A heavenly voice sounded from behind Sister Wang. A girl wearing a bathrobe, with fair skin and a slight blush, walked over. She looked like a fairy who had just come out of the bath. Her hair was still wet, and it was casually scattered. Her pretty face didn't have the slightest bit of makeup on, but she still looked very lovely. She was the superstar Su Shirhan who had countless fans and was the idol of many middle school and university students. But at this moment, she didn't act like a superstar at all. She walked behind the manager like a mischievous girl and bent down to look at her phone, wanting to see who she was calling. "Han, are you feeling better?" Wang Sis's cold expression changed, and a concerned expression appeared on her face as she turned to look at Su Shirhan. I'm fine. Su Shirhan shook her head and smiled sweetly. "Wang Sis, don't worry about me. Right? You haven't told me yet? What happened before? Also, Wang Sis, why is your temper so bad these days? You're always so cold when you pick up the phone." "It's not that I'm cold, but there are some entertainment reporters who always pretend to be fans and collaborators, spying on this and that. It's annoying me." Wang Sis sighed. "Looks like I'll have to change the phone number after a while. Too many people know this number. But what if it's really a call to collaborate?" Su Shirhan nodded and asked, "I can tell with just a few words whether it's a collaboration or not. Some people have too much money and purposely call to have fun. Our Han isn't that kind of person. If you want to chase after a celebrity, go find someone else." Wang Sis had been a manager for a few years, and she had a pair of sharp eyes. The companies that could really afford to collaborate with Su Shirhan were all big and famous companies, not some unknown small company. Chapter 848. The celebrity's strange illness when she grew up and entered the entertainment industry. It was Wang Sis who acted as her manager, shielding her from the wind and rain. Although Wang Sis wasn't her real sister, in Su Shirhan's eyes, she was more or less like a real sister. Now that she was earning money, Su Shirhan would always split the income into two, one under Wang Sis's name. Although Wang Sis didn't want it, Su Shirhan still insisted. "No, it's a scammer company." Wang Sis shook her head. "It's that Guan Xiumin, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. It's been hyped up on TV and newspapers recently, but it's actually a scammer, huh?" Su Shirhan heard Wang Sis's words and couldn't help but smile helplessly. "Wang Sis, Elder Guan is an expert in the medical world. How could he be a scammer? If he's not a scammer, then why can't he cure your illness? After acupuncture for so long, there's no improvement at all. He even said that he could cure it." Wang Sis said with disdain. "You can't say that. So many hospitals couldn't cure it either, right? It's just that my illness is a bit strange." Su Shirhan didn't think that Guan Xiumin was a scammer, since her situation was too complicated. "Forget it. We have to have a conscience when we're endorsers. If he can't even cure your illness, how can he call himself a miracle doctor? We can't just let you lie with your eyes wide open, right?" Wang Sis said indifferently. Su Shirhan heard Wang Sis's words and couldn't help but smile and shake her head. "It's not like there aren't such celebrities. Fake endorsements, there's a lot of them nowadays. I think I should call Master Guan and apologize to him. He was very attentive when he treated me. Do what you want, this kind of scammer. Why bother with him?" Wang Sis was a person who had a clear distinction between love and hate. She had a very strong personality, unlike Su Shirhan, who was pure and didn't have complicated thoughts. However, for someone like Su Shirhan, if it wasn't for Wang Sis, her manager, she would definitely be at a disadvantage. Su Shirhan smiled and picked up the phone. She found the number and called Xu Min, but his phone was turned off. She could only put this matter aside for now. Fatty Lai didn't manage to invite Su Shirhan, so he quickly called Linny, but Linny didn't think much of it. He heard that Su Shirhan's manager was a cocky one, so he gave up on the idea of finding a spokesperson. Jiang Wen didn't have a good time these days. The pressure from his family and the Firewolf gang made it hard for him to breathe. Fortunately, before the kidney trafficking organization was destroyed, Jiang Wen had earned a lot of money for his family and the Firewolf gang. Jiang Wen's brother, Njinda, was in charge of organ trafficking in Songsan. Although he didn't get into any trouble, he had to spend money to buy kidneys. The turnover was small, and the cost was high. So, his annual profit wasn't even as much as Jiang Wen's monthly profit. This was also the reason why the Firewolf gang and house and didn't take Jiang Wen back. Jiang Wen was quite arrogant and unscrupulous, but one had to admit that he was an expert at making money. He'd made tens of millions of profit in 1 month, and even the leader of the Firewolves North had to look at him in a different light. At this moment, Jiang Wen was lying on the sofa, receiving a call from his father. Jiang Wen, you're still too young. You're too reckless this time. Jiang Wen's father, and Mingyue, said seriously. Look at your cousin. He's been in Songsan for a year, and although his results aren't as good as yours, he's stable. Isn't he being used by the Firewolf gang now? Dad, I'm just trying to show Grandpa and the Firewolf gang what I want. Right? Our family, ever since I left the country, the business in the north has been handed over to my uncle. Our family's position in house and the Firewolf gang has been plummeting. Jiang Wen said bitterly. Idiot. I may have given up on the business in the north, and I'm now the liaison between the house and the Firewolf gang. It may seem like I'm not as glorious as your uncle, but in reality, every transaction with the Firewolf gang comes from your father. Mingyue said, otherwise, why do you think the Firewolf gang would put you in charge of the business in Songsan when you just came back? As for your brother, is he really valued by the Firewolf gang? He's only going to the border to deal with the drug dealers. It looks like he's making a lot of money, but do you know how dangerous it is? Which one of those foreign drug dealers isn't a murderer who kills without blinking an eye? I understand, Dad. I was too reckless. Jiang Wen thought about his father's words and felt that it was true. But the organ smuggling business won't last long. And Jinda had already attracted the police's attention when he started it. It's fine if it stopped now. You made quite a lot of money for the Firewolf gang, so we'll let this go. And Mingyue said, fortunately, the head of the Firewolf gang's northern branch is a cruel man. He likes your unscrupulous way of making money. And with me coming back from the middle, he finally agreed to give you a new job. What? A new job? That's great. Jiang Wen was overjoyed when he heard his father's words. He was still thinking about what he should do in the future. How was he going to pursue Meng Yao without a kidney and a career? Now, a new career had arrived so quickly. Yeah, the most profitable business is prostitution, drugs, and organ smuggling. As for the sex industry, there are local gangsters everywhere. We shouldn't interfere. And Mingyue said, as for drug trafficking, your cousin is already in it. What you need to do now is gambling. Oh, you want me to build a casino? Jiang Wen could roughly guess his father's intention. Yes, but not a normal casino. It's an underground boxing ring. And Mingyue said, normal casinos are also controlled by local gangsters. It's not good for us to interfere. That's why we're doing the boxing business. Not only can we sell the tickets, but we can also bet on the outcome of the fights. It's a very profitable business. No problem. Leave it to me. I'll do it well this time. Jiang Wen nodded. But I don't have anyone else I can use. The tattooed guy already took the blame for me. Chapter 849. Jiang Wen's kidney transplant. Don't worry. Father, I know what I'm doing. But can you send me another person who can run errands? Otherwise, these two won't be able to help me take care of things. Jiang Wen wasn't an idiot. One was a fighter, and the other was a doctor. They were both important figures in the Firewolves, and so he couldn't just use them as scapegoats. The kidney trafficking company had taught him a lesson. He had to have a backup plan. He was lucky enough to escape this time, but he had to be more careful next time. He had to prepare a scapegoat for his crimes. Otherwise, the next person to go to jail would be him. Haha, of course, you don't have to worry about that. Immerse smiled. I've found a suitable candidate. He's a wanted criminal, and he only has a junior high schooler at home. He can help you. How could Mingwen not know what his son was thinking? Plus, he didn't want anything to happen to Jiangwen, so he had to arrange everything in advance. Oh, so this person doesn't have anything to worry about? Jiangwen asked quickly. Nope, he only has a junior high schooler at home. After he committed the crime, he lied to his brother, saying that he went overseas to work. Immerse said, I've already sent some money to his brother a few days ago, saying that his brother won't be back for a while. That's good. Jiangwen nodded. Leave this arena to me. I'll make it great for you. Jiangwen hung up the phone. He was very excited. The second spring of his career was about to come. He thought that he would be neglected by the Firewolves for a while, but it seemed like his father's relationship with the Firewolves wasn't just a shallow one. But when he thought about the fact that the Firewolves sent a mystic early phase peak wasn't going to be his bodyguard or fighter, Jiangwen felt a little depressed. How great would it be if this person was his subordinate? Then he could be arrogant and tyrannical in Songshan City again. In fact, Jiangwen didn't have a decent follower. Otherwise, he wouldn't even care about Zhao Qibing. What was an illegitimate son of a hidden house? Even the direct descendants of the hidden families had to be respectful in front of the Fire Wolfgang's division leader. This was also why Jiangwen didn't give Qibing any face. Qibing knew that Jiangwen had the Firewolves behind him, so he didn't dare to act recklessly. However, the secrets of the Firewolves were only known to those who stood at a certain level. Zhao Qibing knew a thing or two about them, and knew that the Firewolves were not to be messed with. Sihua, on the other hand, had no idea how strong the Firewolves were. Right now, Jiangwen felt that all he needed was a kidney, and he'd be able to regain his glory. Now that he had a career and powerful subordinates, all he had to do was install a kidney, and he would once again be one of Songshan's 4 young masters. Jiangwen hung up his father's call and was about to call Pinliang, but Pinliang's call came in before he could make the call. Jiangwen picked it up quickly. Hello, Brother Pinliang? How was it? Are the results out yet? Hey, we're out. Pinliang pretended to be in pain and said worriedly, It really isn't a match. My kidney. Pinliang bro, I'm sorry for your loss. I'll get you a good kidney for sure. Look, is your kidney? Jiangwen asked carefully. Yeah, since it's yours, I'll have to return it to its rightful owner. Pinliang sighed. And bro, you can't forget me in the future. You have to give me a good kidney. Of course. When do you think we should do this surgery? Jiangwen was worried that something might happen if something went wrong. The sooner the better. There's no rush, right? My body's been through a couple of surgeries, and I'm still very weak. I need to nourish my body before the surgery, right? Pinliang said, troubled. Plus, the surgery fee is quite expensive. I'll have to discuss it with my dad first. The surgery fee is not a problem. Of course, I'll pay for it. How can I let you pay for it, bro? Jiangwen said quickly. As for your body, we can nourish your body after the kidney transplant, right? How about this? I'll give you some nutrition fees, and you can buy some supplements or something. I see. Pinliang was overjoyed. Jiangwen, you idiot. I'm giving you a dog kidney, and you're giving me money? What idiot? But he didn't show it on his face. Since a bro says so, I can't really say no. I guess that's the only way. But how much can you give me for the nutrition fees? How about 500,000? Jiangwen gritted his teeth. That was half of his private stash. The rest of it was given to the Firewolves and Housen. He was feeling a little heartache, but he had a career now, and he had a kidney. What was this little bit of money? It was a double blessing for him. Okay, right? Then when do we get the kidney transplant? Jiangwen asked anxiously. And bro, since you're in such a hurry, I won't delay it any longer. How about tomorrow? Pinliang said. The private clinic that's doing the checkup here can do the surgery. I've already contacted Xiaofu. Okay. Tomorrow then. Pinliang bro, thank you. I'll treat you to a feast then. Jiang Wen was overjoyed by Pin Liang's words and quickly thanked him. After Pin Liang hung up, Xiaofu asked, Liang bro, how was it? Did Jiang Wen agree? He did. We'll get the kidney transplant tomorrow, and then give me 500,000 as compensation. Pin Liang said, Is everything ready on your side? Everything's ready. We could do the surgery anytime. Gao Xiaofu cackled and said, Brother Liang, I've also prepared a mad dog. I bought a mad dog from the dog hunting team. This mad dog is really hard to catch. Haha, we'll get that Jiang Wen a mad dog kidney. We'll play him to death. Who told him to screw me over? Take my kidney away? Pin Liang started laughing as well. Jiang Wen, just you wait. The best part is yet to come. When Zhang Naipeo comes down from the mountain, it'll be your death. That's true. When Gunslinger comes out, no one will be able to fight him. Xiaofu said with anticipation. Liang bro, when do you think we can go see Naipeo? Chapter 850. You Xiaoka, are you depressed? I know that. Xiaofu nodded. The two of them had grown up amidst great joys and sorrows. How childish were they when they thought back to what they'd done. But how many people hadn't been childish before in their lives? How many people hadn't grown up amidst failure? Pin Liang and Xiaofu's thoughts had deepened, and they no longer showed their hatred on their faces and fought their enemies head-on. They now knew how to use schemes and strategies. The next morning, Pin Liang and Xiaofu arrived at the private clinic they'd agreed on earlier. This clinic was under Tsihua's jurisdiction, and Xiaofu was able to easily reach an agreement with the doctors here using Tsihua's name. Jiang Wen thought that it'd be hard for a normal clinic to complete a kidney transplant, but after seeing the size of this clinic, he let go of that worry. This clinic wasn't small at all, and they could even perform appendectomies and cholecystectomies. A kidney transplant shouldn't be a problem at all. Pin Liang pretended to sigh as he chatted with Jiang Wen, and with Xiaofu's help, he walked into the surgery room and lay down on the bed. The doctor injected anesthetic into Jiang Wen first, and in order to not arouse Jiang Wen's suspicion, he pretended to inject the anesthetic into Pin Liang as well. In fact, Jiang Wen was being very careful this time. He'd removed the wrong kidney last time, so naturally he'd be more careful this time. It wasn't that he thought that Pin Liang would lie to him, but he didn't suspect Pin Liang at all. Why would Pin Liang want a rejected kidney? Since Pin Liang had promised to return the kidney to him, Jiang Wen didn't think too much about it. He was just worried about the doctor's skills. After a while, a wave of drowsiness hit him, and Jiang Wen fell asleep. Pin Liang, who should have fallen asleep as well, sat up abruptly and got off the bed. He looked at the sleeping Jiang Wen and spat on the ground before calling out to the surgery room. Xiaofu, open the door and let the dog out. All right, Liang bro. Gao Xiaofu pushed a surgical cart over, and on the cart lay a big black dog that had already been anesthetized. Dr. Zhang, sorry to trouble you. Gao Xiaofu said to the chief surgeon with a smile. Don't worry, there won't be any problem. I don't dare to replace a human kidney, but a dog kidney is not a problem. Anyway, it's fine even if it's damaged, right? Dr. Zhang nodded and asked. It's fine if I die, Pin Liang said nonchalantly. The rest was left to Dr. Zhang, and Pin Liang and Xiaofu left first. Xiaoka was very depressed these days, almost to the point of being depressed. Qibing Real Estate wanted to demolish the orphanage, but before she could think of a good strategy, her source of income was cut off. Recently, the city's anti-theft campaign was in full swing, and Xiaoka realized that there was a plainclothes police patrolling every few steps. She didn't have a chance to make a move. Moreover, committing a crime at a time like this was no different from asking for death. Although what she did wasn't enough for Ling Shan to issue a wanted order for her, who knew if Ling Shan told her subordinates about her appearance? Well, she was recognized for being sneaky. However, she had to go out and earn money. The orphanage's expenses were getting higher and higher, and if this continued, they would be running out of money. Xiaoka was depressed and anxious. Xiaoka, what are you doing? You're walking around the house, and I'm getting dizzy. The dean couldn't help but ask when she saw Xiaoka walking around like a headless fly. Master, the police are starting to crack down. I can't go out and work anymore. Xiaoka sighed. I need to think of a way. It seems like I need to spread the news and get a few big deals. Lin sighed and said, Ah, Xiaoka, it's been hard on you. The dean looked at Xiaoka with heartache. If it wasn't for the fact that I can't show my face in public, I really want to share some of your burden. You're only 18, and you should be enjoying your youth without any worries. But you have such a heavy burden on you every day, master. You're treating me like an outsider. You treat me like a daughter, and I share your burden. Isn't that what I should do? Xiaoka didn't think that she was suffering much. It had been so many years, and she was used to it. Now, all she wanted was to earn money so that the children in the orphanage could live a good life. Xiaoka, you're not young anymore, right? One of my biggest wishes is for you to marry into a good family, get rid of your current hard life, and live a happy life. The dean looked at Xiaoka and suddenly said, Me? Marry? Ha, master, don't joke with me. Xiaoka shook her head. Who dares to marry me? I'm a female thief. Who dares to marry me? That's not important. If you don't say it yourself, who would know? The dean didn't mind. Just change a place and hide your name. Change a place and hide my name? No way. What about the children in the orphanage? How can I leave them alone? Xiaoka shook her head. So, whoever marries me has to bear the burden of the orphanage. Huh, who would dare to marry me? Even if I'm as beautiful as a goddess, it's impossible, right? Plus, I'm not even a sky immortal yet. The dean sighed and didn't say anything else on the topic. He knew what Xiaoka was thinking. How could she think about marriage before the orphanage's problems were solved? And if it was as Xiaoka said, marrying her would have to bear the burden of the orphanage, then no one would dare to marry Xiaoka. Xiaoka was pretty, but she was used to playing around outside, and she was a female thief. Which rich family would want a girl like that? If it was a small family, who would be able to bear the burden of such a huge orphanage? But then again, even if those rich families were willing to marry Xiaoka, why would they help her bear the burden of the orphanage? They were rich, but they couldn't afford to spend money like that, could they? The orphanage's expenses went up to $1 million a year. How expensive are things nowadays? Chapter 851. How's Kang's urging? What else can we do? We have to try, right? At least our sex Qin Gong is good, and we're good at mechanisms. We're better than them. Yu Xiaoka said proudly. Last time, I helped them rob tombs. If it wasn't for me, they'd be dead already. Just be careful. The dean knew that Yu Xiaoka had made up her mind, so he didn't try to persuade her anymore. The orphanage couldn't lose its income, or else it wouldn't be able to survive. Yu Xiaoka posted a mission on the Thief's Doors website and waited for people to accept it. But normally, once a mission was issued, there wouldn't be people looking for it immediately. So during this time, Yu Xiaoka decided to do something. After thinking about it, she felt that she didn't have any skills. The only thing she could think of was to sell flowers in front of the hospital. The risk was low, and she could still make a profit. After thinking about it, she brought Xiaoqian and the older kids to the wholesale market to buy some flowers. They started selling flowers in front of the first public hospital. In fact, there was a local boss who controlled the sales of flowers, but he knew Yu Xiaoka. He knew that she was a cat burglar, and that she wasn't someone to be messed with. He also heard about the crackdown in the city, so he knew that Yu Xiaoka selling flowers was just a temporary measure. It wouldn't last long, so he turned a blind eye to it. Kong Ming laid on the sickbed. Luckily, his legs were only fractured and not comminuted. It was a relatively light fracture. But as the saying goes, it takes 100 days to recover from an injury. Even if Kong Ming had some good medicine, he wouldn't be able to walk in a short amount of time. Fortunately, the wheelchairs were more intelligent. They could move forward and backward, and they could even turn corners. Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhong followed them, so it didn't take too long. Today was the day that Kong Ming was discharged. Other than the terminally ill, it was a good thing for normal people to be discharged, but Kong Ming wasn't in a good mood. Guan Xen hadn't visited Kong Ming ever since she'd laid in bed for so many days. Kong Ming's main reason for staying in the hospital was to get close to Guan Xen, but now that he hadn't gotten close to her, he'd suffered for a few days in vain. Shubin, do you have any other good ideas? Kong Ming was panicking. His family had been calling him all the time, urging him to get Guan Xin as soon as possible. But his leg was broken. Where would he get the chance to get Guan Xin? Master Ming, I don't think we should use the excuse of being sick to get close to Guan Xin, Wang Shubing said after some thought. Nonsense. You think I don't know? Even Guan Xin is starting to get suspicious. If I get sick again, even if she doesn't think I did it on purpose, she'll still think that I'm an unlucky bastard who gets sick all the time. Who would want to be friends with me? Kong Ming Ming snorted. Plus, which patient she's in charge of has such a bad injury? She won't be able to control it well if it's light or heavy. Yeah, but I really can't think of any good ideas, Wang Shubing said carefully. The guides on picking up girls on the internet are all bullsh**. They're just to trick people. There's no practical use at all. What are they saying on the internet? Kong Ming Ming asked. They're all about drugging her, getting on the car first, and then paying for the ticket. Wang Shubing said. What the fuck, you're on porn, right? What kind of nonsense is this? Kong Ming Ming heard Wang Shubing's words and knew that it was impossible. If he drugged Guan Xin, it'd be good enough if she didn't hate him to death. How could she tell him the formula? To hell with it. Yes. Yes. Wang Shubing wiped the sweat off his forehead. Didn't you tell me to go see her? But he didn't dare to refute. As they were talking, Kong Ming Ming's phone rang. Kong Ming picked it up and saw that it was his brother Kong Xiaolong. He quickly picked it up. Brother? Xiaoming, I heard that you're leaving the hospital today. How's it going? Xiaolong had something to discuss with Kong Ming Ming, but Kong Ming had just been discharged from the hospital. As his brother, he had to visit him. I'm all right, but I still have to sit in a wheelchair. Brother, what's up? Kong Ming Ming asked. Isn't it that thing? Xiaolong sighed. The Xiao family came looking for Grandpa to force the marriage. They even brought a mystic class master. Motherfucker, are they trying to scare us? That's why you need to hurry up and get Guan Xin to give us the prescription. No matter what you do, you have to get it done as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'll have no choice but to marry Wang Xinyan. Kong Ming Ming thought that marrying Wang Xinyan would be a beautiful thing. If he was the one to marry her, he'd be more than happy to do so. But he also knew that if House Kong really had the formula for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, they'd have a qualitative leap. With this formula, they'd become one of the most powerful houses in the world. Although the aristocratic families that had consumed the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing didn't publicly announce the effects of the pill, they had secretly sent people to the Kong family to inquire if they had any intention of selling the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing they had purchased at the auction. If they could, they would offer a reasonable price. Reasonable price? House Kong had already spent more than 400 million on the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. Wouldn't a reasonable price be more than 400 million? It was unimaginable. But Kong Ming Ming knew that even if they spent 500 million, it would still be worth it to some of the older members of the big houses or even the hidden houses. One pill could extend one's lifespan by 10 years. That was money for life. It was worth it no matter how much it cost. Plus, Kong Ming Ming had experienced the effects of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing firsthand, and he was still benefiting from it. His cold from before, and now that he'd been smashed by the house, had healed rather quickly. It was all thanks to the changes in his body. If it were the old Kong Ming Ming, with his weak kidneys, he'd be lying in the hospital a long time ago. As a result, once House Kong got the formula and refined the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, wouldn't all the other houses have to give them some face? At that time, the Kong family would be promoted to an aristocratic family, and that would be a matter of course. I'll hurry, Kong Ming Ming said. But we can't rush this, right? Chapter 852. Oh, injury medicine formula? Raw material supply? Raw material supply? What do we need that for? Kong Ming Ming didn't understand what Xiaolong wanted. If we find out that their formula is the same as our golden creation, we can sue them for patent infringement. Xiaolong said, as for the raw material supply, we can contact them and ask them to sell all their raw materials to us. That way, Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine company won't have any raw materials to sell. If they can't make the product, then the formula will be useless. Is that so? I understand. I'll try my best to find out, Kong Ming Ming nodded. It's best to find out first. If the formula for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing isn't easy, we can put aside for now, Xiaolong said. Xiaolong said, after all, House Kang's biggest competitor is Miracle Dr. Guan's company. Okay, Kong Xiaoming replied. In his mind, he was thinking about how to get Miracle Dr. Guan's formula and the source of the raw materials. Did Guan Xian know about this? But even if she didn't, he could find out. It seemed like he had to get Guan Xian first. After hanging up, Kong Ming Ming was panicking. Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine company was going to release their new product next month. It would be too much of a rush to get the formula before then. Wang Shubing, things have changed. We have to get Guan Xian as soon as possible. Kong Xiaoming didn't hide his intentions from his confidant. My big brother is already rushing me. Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company will be releasing their product into the market next month. We need to get the formula of the injury medicine and the raw material purchasing channel before that happens. Kong Xiaoming didn't hide his intentions from his confidant. Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhong had helped him do some evil things before, such as murdering Xiaofan, so these things weren't a big deal in their eyes. Master Ming, that's going to be a bit difficult. Guan Xian's a pure and innocent girl with a strong sense of self-defense. With her family background, she won't be easily tempted by money. That's why our methods of picking up girls like they're dirt aren't going to work. Wang Shubin frowned and sighed. Guan Xian is a girl from a wealthy family. She likes romantic love, but we don't have much to be romantic about. Romantic? Damn it, I didn't know what romance was 10 years ago. Whenever I saw a pretty girl, I would throw money at her. Kong Ming Ming said fiercely, but I don't care. Think of a romantic way for me right now. I need to finish Guan Xian as soon as possible. There's no time. Wang Shubing was speechless. Where could he go to find romance at this time? However, since it was Kong Ming Ming's order, he could not disobey it. He could only think hard. Even though Zhu Xiaozhong wasn't named by Kong Ming Ming, there was no guarantee that Kong Ming Ming would ask him, so he didn't dare delay. While Wang Shubin was thinking, Zhu Xiaozhong was also thinking of a solution. You three, why are you standing in the middle of the hospital's entrance? Do you want to die? The three of them were thinking hard when they suddenly heard a loud shout. Kong Ming Ming looked up and saw a hearse entering the hospital. The three of them were standing in the middle of the entrance, blocking the hearse's way. The driver of the hearse was holding a wreath to pick up the deceased, but when he reached the entrance, he was blocked by Kong Ming Ming's group. He honked for a long time, but the three of them didn't hear him. The driver had no choice but to open the window and yell at them. However, Zhu Xiaozhong was an arrogant person. He was usually as domineering as a crab, but when he heard someone scolding him, he immediately became angry. He glared at the hearse driver and cursed. Who are you calling courting death? You old bastard, you don't want to live anymore, do you? Do you know who I am? Why are you in such a hurry? Do you want to die? The hearse driver was just angry at the moment, so he spoke without thinking. As long as Zhu Xiaozhong moved out of the way, he would let it go. However, when he saw Zhu Xiaozhong's arrogance, blocking the road and still speaking reasonably, he became angry. I am in a hurry to pick up the deceased. What's wrong? If you don't move out of the way, I will run you over and give you a wreath. I will take you to the crematorium on the way. Huh? Zhu Xiaozhong wanted to continue yelling, but when he heard the driver say he would give him a wreath, he suddenly had an idea. Wreath. Flowers. Yes, if there was anything romantic, it would be giving flowers. He had seen some soap operas before. In those soap operas, the male protagonist would use flowers to woo the female protagonist. They would create a sea of flowers, and then the male protagonist would stand in the middle of the sea of flowers with a broken guitar, confessing his love. Although Guan Xian wasn't a gold digger, she definitely couldn't stand such a romantic sea of flowers. Every girl wanted to have a romantic courtship like this, so Guan Xian was no exception. Zhu Xiaozhong was so happy that he danced with joy. His gaze towards the hearse driver was a lot gentler than before. This person was a great help to him. So Zhu Xiaozhong smiled at the hearse driver. Thank you. The hearse driver was dumbfounded. What kind of person was this? He was giving him a wreath, and he was thanking him? Was there something wrong with him? Was he crazy? Thinking of this possibility and seeing Zhu Xiaozhang's gratified smile, the driver shuddered. He suddenly remembered that this was a hospital. Could this person in front of him be a mental patient? Thinking of this possibility, the driver was shocked. It wasn't against the law for this psychopath to kill someone. He couldn't provoke him. He quickly reversed the car and prepared to leave from the back door of the hospital. He didn't want to provoke this psychopath and invite an unexpected disaster. Zhu Xiaozhang didn't have the mood to care about what the driver was thinking. He quickly turned to Kong Mingming. Master Ming, I have a good idea. What is it? Hurry up and tell me. Kong Mingming asked impatiently. It's like this. We can use the flower seed tactic. Wang Shubing said. Master Ming, we can buy a bunch of flowers and place them in the courtyard of the hospital. Then you can confess to Guan Xin in front of everyone. How romantic would that be? When Guan Xin is touched, she might give you a chance. Oh, will that work? Kong Xiaoming listened to Wang Shubin's plan and felt that it was feasible. He couldn't help but feel moved. Chapter 853. Chapter 852. Richu Xiaoka, you're right. Kong Mingming nodded. Now that you mention it, I think so too. In those dramas, a lot of them use a sea of flowers to woo someone. However, Kong Mingming and Wang Shubing had neglected one important point, and that was the relationship between the male and female lead in dramas. It was completely different from his relationship with Guan Xin. The male lead used a sea of flowers to woo someone, but it was built on the premise that the female lead already had feelings for him. It was just that the two of them had misunderstandings or conflicts, or maybe it was just a layer of paper window that wasn't broken. That was why the sea of flowers had such a powerful effect. But the problem now was that Guan Xin didn't like Kong Mingming at all, and she didn't have any feelings for Kong Mingming. How could she fall in love with Kong Mingming just because of the sea of flowers? If it was Linny doing this, Guan Xin might have gladly accepted. Then should we go back and contact the florist? Wang Shubing saw that Kong Mingming had agreed, so he asked, Go back for what? Can't we just buy the flowers here? It's better to do this as soon as possible. Kong Mingming was in a hurry, and he didn't want to wait any longer. Okay, then we'll buy it now. Wang Shubing nodded and pushed Kong Mingming out of the hospital. He saw you, Xiaoka, selling flowers with the children from the orphanage. Huh, isn't there someone selling flowers here? Kong Mingming's eyes lit up when he saw you, Xiaoka. What a pretty girl. But she looked familiar, as if he had seen her somewhere before. However, he had to pursue Guan Xin, and he couldn't afford to cause any trouble. Otherwise, he would have gone after the little girl selling flowers. Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhang also felt that Yu Xiaoka looked familiar, but they didn't know where they had seen her before. However, he didn't pay much attention to it. He thought that she sold flowers at the entrance of the hospital every day, and he saw her every day when he went in and out. However, it was no wonder that Yu Xiaoka was wearing a nurse's white coat. It was a completely different image from the one she was selling flowers right now. That was why Kong Xiaoming, Zhu Xiaozhang, and Wang Shubing didn't recognize her as the nurse who tricked them and sent them to the morgue. However, Kong Mingming, Wang Shubin, and Zhu Xiaozhang didn't recognize Xiaoka, but she did. As a qualified cat burglar, Xiaoka's eyesight was quite good. She recognized the 3 fat sheep with one look, but when she saw them walking towards her, she felt a little guilty. Could it be that the 3 of them recognized him? Xiaoka was a little worried, but thinking that she was just messing with them, they wouldn't know that she was the one who stole their wallets. She calmed down and pretended not to know them. Hey, how much are your flowers? We want to buy more. Do you have any left? Zhu Xiaozhang's tone was arrogant, but the more he acted like this, the more people would treat him as a fat sheep. Yes, I have as many as you want. But what flowers do you want to buy? Xiaoka's eyes brightened. She knew that the 3 idiots were going to give her money. We want roses. How many do you have? The ones you have aren't enough for anything. Zhu Xiaozhang said impatiently. Roses are 3 yuan each. I have as many as you want. If you don't have enough, you can plant them now, Xiaoka said. Zhu Xiaozhang felt that Xiaoka wasn't reliable after hearing her bullsh asterisk tea. He wanted to ask the flower shop nearby, but he heard Kong Mingming say something. Ah, your words are quite interesting. Kong Ming Ming laughed. Then I'll buy them from you. I want to buy 10,000 roses and put them in the hospital yard. It'll be a sea of flowers for an hour. Is that okay? Sure, but you have to give me a deposit first. Xiaoka was overjoyed. She didn't expect to meet an idiot like this on her first day of selling flowers. He didn't even ask for the price and ordered 10,000 roses. 3 kwai was only the retail price of a single rose. She could buy 10 of them at a cheaper price, and she could even get the packaging for free. Deposit is not a problem, but I can't give you much. 10,000. I'll give you the rest after you get the flowers. Kong Xiaoming said. In his eyes, 10,000 kwai wasn't much, not to mention that he had just gotten some money from Tsihua. He was quite generous. Xiaoka almost laughed out loud after hearing Kong Ming Ming's words. 10,000. 10,000 roses didn't even cost 10,000 RMB. Currently, the price of roses in Songshan City's flower wholesale market was 50 cents, but if the quantity was large, it could be lowered to 30 cents. So only 3,000 RMB was enough. This idiot gave her 10,000 at once. What a great deal. Xiaoka estimated that she could give them 80 cents if they bargained, but these 3 didn't seem to know the market at all. They didn't bargain and even gave her 10,000 as a deposit. Of course, Xiaoka couldn't show it. She said calmly, "Okay, give me the deposit and I'll send the flowers to you." Kong Ming Ming and the others didn't expect that they could bargain with the price of the flowers. After all, they saw that Xiaoka was a street flower seller, and she didn't earn much from one flower. Plus, it was only a few kwai. Even Kong Ming Ming felt that it was beneath him to bargain. He was the second young master of House Kong. How could he argue with a few street flower sellers? If word got out, wouldn't people laugh their heads off? Kong Ming Ming sent Zhu Xiaozhang to a nearby ATM to withdraw 10,000 and gave it to Xiaoka. Here's the deposit. If you do well, there's a reward. To Kong Xiaoming, 30 or 20,000 wasn't much, so he promised Xiaoka that if she did a good job, there would be a reward. He wanted her to do a good job for him. Xiaoka's eyes lit up when she heard that there was a reward. She gave Kong Ming Ming some ideas. "Boss, who are you welcoming? Is it your girlfriend?" "Yes, it's my girlfriend. I want to confess to her." Kong Ming Ming was overjoyed when he heard that Guan Xin was his girlfriend. He was in a great mood. He nodded. "Why? Is there something? If you're welcoming your girlfriend, do you need me to prepare a sign or something?" Xiaoka thought that since she earned so much from him and got a reward, she might as well give him something as well. Chapter 854. The big battle. Xiaoka was speechless. She wanted to give him a sign for free, but this guy wanted to give her money too? There was no reason for Xiaoka to reject it. So he nodded and said, "Boss, you are really straightforward. Your girlfriend must be very happy to have a boyfriend like you." "Wahahaha, you know me too well." Of course. Kong Ming Ming thought that with Xiaoka's lucky words, he would definitely be able to win today. He said to Xiaoka, "Didn't we agree on 30,000? If you do well today, I'll give you 50,000. But other than the sign, you have to buy me some other things." "All right, boss, just say it." Xiaoka thought that she'd met an idiot today. She'd be letting herself down if she didn't rip him off. "Go get me some fireworks, a broken guitar, and a megaphone. I want to confess my love." Kong Ming Ming thought that in movies, other than a sea of flowers, there were fireworks as well, and so he took the chance to bring it up. Kong Ming Ming was too lazy to buy them himself, and he didn't know where to buy fireworks. He wasn't familiar with Songshan either, so he might as well let Xiaoka do it for him. Xiaoka happily went to buy the things. As a female cat burglar, she'd been to many places in Songshan, and so she knew what was sold and what was available. She sent Ken to the flower market to buy flowers, and another to buy fireworks, and another to the second-hand market to buy a broken guitar and megaphone. Xiaoka herself went to prepare the sign for Kong Ming Ming. Because there were many people, the division of labor was clear, and so after Xiaoka got the sign from the photocopier, the others also brought the things back, arranging them according to Kong Ming Ming's requirements. Kong Ming Ming didn't expect Xiaoka to finish it so quickly. He couldn't contain his joy and gave the remaining 40,000 to Xiaoka without hesitation. Ken and the kids didn't think that Xiaoka would be this good. She just casually negotiated a 50,000 kwai deal. The flowers, the sign, the second-hand guitar, and the amplifier only cost 4,000 kwai in total. They couldn't believe that they had earned 45,000 kwai in just a blink of an eye. Xiaoka took the money and left. She had earned enough here, and if she earned more, people would be jealous of her. Xiaoka knew the rules here and knew that there were flower shops in this area. In fact, these shops would send people to sell flowers in front of the hospital, and Xiaoka had stolen such a big business from them. How could the flower shop be willing to accept that? If she were to continue doing this tomorrow, these people would definitely cause trouble for Xiaoka. She knew when to retreat and took the money and left. But even so, there were still people who were jealous. The owner of the flower shop nearby looked at Xiaoka with a greedy and hateful gaze. He wasn't happy at all. If it wasn't for Mad Bull Bro telling him that Xiaoka wasn't someone to be messed with, he would have gone up and asked for a share. Seeing Xiaoka leave, the flower shop owner walked over and found Kong Ming Ming. "Boss, I'm from Tiandao Flower Shop. Do you need any more flowers? I have them here, and they're very complete. We're done. What else do you want?" Kong Ming Ming was excitedly preparing to confess to Guan Xin, and this flower shop owner came over to talk to him. It pissed him off. "Go away, don't get in the way." The flower shop owner could only back off. "Then you can come to me next time. I can give you a discount." All right, I got it." Kong Ming Ming waved his hand and said impatiently, "Get the fuck out." Guan Xin was only a nurse in the Songshan First Hospital, but there were many people who knew her. The prettiest girl in the Songshan First Hospital was definitely Guan Xin, so whether they talked to her or not, they'd all heard of her name. Now that Kong Ming Ming had put up the sign, "Guan Xin, I love you," many people saw it and stopped to look, trying to guess who Kong Ming Ming was. Could this guy in the wheelchair be Guan Xin's boyfriend? Guan Xin, on the other hand, got the news very quickly. Those who knew Guan Xin told her about the situation at the hospital entrance. Xin, I have big news for you. There's a sea of roses outside our hospital, and they're preparing to confess. That's quite romantic. He's really rich," Li Xiaomei said enviously. "Oh," Guan Xin only smiled faintly. "What does that have to do with me? How does it have nothing to do with you? That person even put up a sign, 'Guan Xin, I love you.' It's obviously for you. It's already spread in our hospital," Li Xiaomei said. "I just went to the ward and the doctor there told me." "Huh? Me?" Guan Xin's eyes widened at Li Xiaomei's words. She looked at her in disbelief. "Really? Are you talking about me?" "Yes." Li Xiaomei nodded. "It's really you." Who? Who would do that? Was it Lin Yi? Guan Xin subconsciously thought of Lin Yi, but when she thought of Lin Yi, she shook her head and blamed herself. It couldn't be Lin Yi. Why would he confess to her? He was really indulging in fantasies. Guan Xin lost interest once she remembered that the person wasn't Lin Yi. There wasn't any excitement on her face. Who's so bored? Xin, aren't you moved at all after hearing this explosive news? You don't even want to go out and see. Who did it? Li Xiaomei asked curiously. No. Guan Xin shook her head. What's there to see? It's probably Kong Ming Ming, that boring person. Now that you mention it, it's possible. Li Xiaomei lost interest when she heard the name. She didn't have any feelings for Kong Ming Ming, and she also knew Xiao Fan through Guan Xin. She knew that Xiao Fan was harmed by Kong Ming Ming, so she didn't have a good impression of Kong Ming Ming, and now her impression of him was even worse. So, let's get back to work. Guan Xin started to get busy again. After work, Guan Xin and Li Xiaomei walked out of the hospital together. Wang Shubin, who was in charge of investigating at the hospital, saw Guan Xin and immediately sent a signal to Kong Ming Ming and Zhu Xiaozhang. Chapter 855. The greedy florist Guan Xin thought that Kong Xiaoming would be in a hurry to leave after waiting for so long, but she didn't expect to be startled by the fireworks as soon as she stepped out of the door. Kong Xiaoming's sudden voice startled her. Before Guan Xin could react, Kong Xiaoming started singing. There's a girl in the hospital called Xin. She's pretty and kind. She has a pair of big, beautiful eyes, and her braids are thick and long. Kong Ming Ming played the guitar and sang, giving off the vibe of a passionate prince. It was just that his voice was terrible, like a frog croaking. Not only did it scare Guan Xan, it also made the onlookers frown. Xiaomei, let's go. Ignore him. Guan Xan hadn't been in a situation like this before. She was truly frightened by Kong Mingming. Kong Mingming panicked when he saw that Guan Xan was about to leave. He didn't care about singing anymore and went straight into his confession. Xan, you're the goddess in my heart. You're the electricity, you're the light, you're the legend. I only love you. Where are you guys from? Flammable items aren't allowed in the hospital, and fireworks aren't allowed. Plus, you've already disturbed the patients by shouting with a megaphone. Come with us to the police room for your punishment. Just as Kong Xiaoming was making a fuss, the police in the hospital's duty room received a report and ran over, surrounding Kong Xiaoming in an instant. Kong Mingming didn't think he'd attract the police. Is it illegal for me to pick up girls? It's not illegal for you to pick up girls, but what you're doing is against the hospital's rules. Come back with us. 2 police officers took Kong Mingming away. Everyone had gathered around to watch the drama, but before Kong Xiaoming could finish his confession, he was taken away by the police. Soon, everyone dispersed. Guan Xan breathed a sigh of relief. This Kong Mingming really was annoying. She didn't know what to do with him. Guan Xan didn't lack suitors in the past, but this was the first time she'd made such a big fuss. Phew! Guan Xan let out a long sigh of relief. She decided that the next time she saw Kong Mingming, she'd have a good talk with him. There was no hope between them, so he shouldn't waste his time. This person is really unlucky. He was arrested by the police on duty in the hospital before he could finish his confession. Li Xiaomei curled her lips, feeling a little funny. Thank God he was taken, or I wouldn't know how to deal with him. Guan Xan shook her head as she quickly followed Li Xiaomei to where the hospital bus was parked. Kong Mingming was in the hospital's police office. He wrote a letter of guarantee, paid a small fine, and was released. After all, he didn't do anything too serious. The police criticized and educated him before letting him go. Kong Mingming didn't listen to a single word. He was secretly worried and quickly maneuvered his wheelchair out of the police office. He saw Zhu Xiaozhong and Wang Shubing waiting at the entrance. Where's Guan Xan? How is she? Kong Mingming asked anxiously. She left a long time ago. Wang Shubing said helplessly. Master Ming, you weren't there, so we couldn't stop Guan Xan from leaving. When she left, what was her expression like? Was she happy? Kong Mingming asked. No, she looked angry. Wang Shubing said carefully. Motherfucker, we made such a big scene for nothing. Kong Mingming said unhappily. How can this hospital be so lenient? The 3 of them left the hospital together. The sea of flowers in front of the hospital had already been removed, and the guitar and amplifier were nowhere to be seen. However, Kong Xiaoming didn't really care about these things. Right now, he was thinking about how to get Guan Xan. It seemed that his confession was a complete failure. He just didn't know if he was angry because Guan Xan didn't like him, or was he angry because his confession was ruined. The owner of the flower shop in front of the hospital was rich. Kong Mingming was arrested. Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhong were also gone. The 10,000 roses in front of the door were now ownerless. The owner of the flower shop quickly called a few workers to collect all the roses and put them in her cellar. The owner picked up a big bargain, but not only was he not satisfied, he was still planning to sell the flowers to Kong Mingming tomorrow. He waited at the hospital entrance and saw Kong Mingming and the other 2 walk over. He quickly greeted them with a smile. 3 bosses, do you still want to buy flowers? I have some cheap roses here, guaranteed to be cheap. Do you still want them tomorrow? What the fuck? Kong Mingming glared at the flower shop owner. Still want to buy? Still want to make a fool of himself tomorrow? Boss, didn't you fail today? Don't you want to continue tomorrow? The owner paused and was a little unwilling. He saw that Yu Xiaoko was earning money, so he was extremely jealous. Now he picked up 10,000 roses and wanted to sell them to Kong Mingming. It would have been better if the owner didn't mention it, but once he mentioned the failed confession, Kong Mingming was furious. He really touched his sore spot. He was so angry that he pointed at the flower shop owner and ordered Zhu Xiaozhong and Wang Shubing. Beat him up. Motherfucker, don't be so noisy in front of me. As the saying goes, a man who is never content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. This owner was such a person. He obviously picked up 10,000 roses, but he still wasn't satisfied. He wanted to sell the 10,000 roses to Kong Ming Ming. In the end, he was beaten up by Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhong. They beat the owner until he lost his temper. Although the owner had some background and knew the boss of this area, Mad Bulbaro, he saw that Kong Xiaoming and the other two were driving a Porsche Cayenne. One look, and he could tell that they were rich people. He could only cry and beg for mercy. Kong Ming Ming's war of courtship ended in a farce. Guan Xian wasn't moved at all, making Kong Ming Ming waste 50,000 yuan. However, Kong Ming Ming didn't give up. The next afternoon, when it was almost time to get off work, he, Wang Shubing, and Zhu Xiaozhong squatted in front of the First People's Hospital, waiting for Guan Xian to get off work. Based on the current situation, what should I do? Kong Xiaoming sighed helplessly. He had accepted the mission his family gave him with full confidence. He thought that he could complete it perfectly, but who would have thought that Guan Xian would be so hard to deal with? Guan Xian wasn't moved no matter what he did. Logically speaking, his family background was similar to Guan Xian's, so they were considered a match. Why wasn't Guan Xian moved? Chapter 856. Guan Xian's father. Yesterday was a good opportunity. If we continued, Guan Xian might really be moved and give you a chance. But yesterday's plan failed. We can't use the same plan a second time. Even if we use it, it won't have any effect. So I think we should change our strategy. Aren't you talking nonsense? I know that too. Kong Xiaoming wasn't in a good mood. What I want right now is a practical solution, not a theoretical analysis like yours. I don't have much time left. Do you know that? The situation right now is that my family is really pressuring me. If I really can't get the formula this time, my position in the Kong family will plummet. You two idiots won't be able to be as powerful without my support. This. Wang Shubing and Zhu Xiaozhong heard Kong Ming Ming's words and realized that things weren't as simple as they seemed. Indeed, if Kong Ming Ming wasn't popular in the Kong family, then the two of them wouldn't be able to call the shots like they were now. Thinking of this, Wang Shubing took a deep breath and began to think of a countermeasure. Kong Ming Ming saw that he was thinking and didn't disturb him. Among them, only Wang Shubing could be considered the brains, so everything depended on him. I got it. Wang Shubing suddenly had an idea. Master Ming, all the signs show that Guan Xian is a good girl. This type of girl listens to her family. So, if we directly propose to the Guan family, there should be some hope. Think about it. You are the grandson of Dr. Kong, and Guan Xian is the granddaughter of Miracle Dr. Guan. You two are a strong combination. I think Guan Xiumin wouldn't object, right? Your idea might work, but you have to understand that I'm not looking for Guan Xian to marry her. I'm just trying to get Guan Xian's recipe from her. If I can have some fun, then I'll do it. It's fine if I can't, but marriage is out of the question. Kong Xiaoming said. How can I get married if I get the recipe out of her? Plus, even if it's a fake marriage, my grandfather has to step in. I can't be stupid enough to ask for Guan Xiumin's hand. Do you think Guan Xiumin will believe him? This. Wang Shubing hesitated. Master Ming, why don't you pay her a visit and tell her that you just want to get to know her better? Although it's not a formal proposal, it's still a hint. I'm sure Xiumin won't reject it too much. Wouldn't it be perfectly justifiable for you to approach Guan Xian? That makes sense. Kong Xiaoming nodded. But I'm not familiar with him. I've never met him before. What if he objects to it? I think you're not asking for her hand in marriage, Master Ming. You're just asking to be friends with Guan Xian. I don't think Guan Xiumin would reject you out of respect, would he? As long as he doesn't refuse, we can do it. Wang Shubin continued. Of course, if Guan Xiumin strongly disagrees, even if you're with Guan Xian, he will still find a way to separate you two. He won't easily give the recipe to Guan Xian. That's true. The key was the attitude of the Guan family. Then should we pay a visit to Guan Xiumin? Kong Ming Ming nodded. I'll have to discuss this with my family. We can't go empty-handed. We have to bring some gifts. As the three of them were talking, it was time for the hospital to get off work. Guan Xin and Li Xiaomei walked out of the hospital. When they were about to reach the entrance, Guan Xin said to Li Xiaomei, "Xiaomei, you can take the commuter car today. I have other things to do." "Oh, you have a date?" Li Xiaomei paused. She smiled mischievously at Guan Xin. "Don't tell me it's with that Kong Mingming. How is that possible?" Guan Xin glared at her. "Even if you beat me to death, I would never go on a date with him. Don't make wild guesses. My dad came to Songshan for business. He's here to pick me up." "Haha, I see." Li Xiaomei nodded. "Isn't that the legendary major shareholder? Shouldn't the dean come out to greet him? My dad is just passing by. He didn't come to the hospital for an inspection. Why would he notify the dean?" Guan Xin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "All right, I'll be going first." Guan Xin ran towards the Audi A6L parked in front of the hospital. The car was quietly parked not far from the entrance. It didn't enter the hospital, so no one noticed that it was Guan Xiaoxiang's car. "Young Master Ming, Guan Xin is here." Wang Shubing saw Guan Xin and reminded Kong Mingming. "Oh, she's not taking the commuter car?" Kong Mingming paused. His original plan was to wait for Guan Xin to get on the commuter car. Then, the three of them would silently follow behind. Once Guan Xin was home, they would pay her a visit. He didn't expect Guan Xin to not get on the commuter car. Did she have something else to do today? No. Young Master Ming. She got on the Audi A6L. It's a Songjiang license plate. Zhu Xiaozhong pointed in the direction Guan Xin ran to. Songjiang license plate? Could it be that Guan Xin went to meet her lover? Kong Mingming's face immediately darkened. The driver of the black Audi A6L was most likely a man. Judging from the light in the car, when Guan Xin opened the door, the driver should be a man. I don't think so. That man seems to be quite old. Zhu Xiaozhong's eyes were sharp, and he quickly said, "Could it be that he's a prostitute?" It would have been better if Zhu Xiaozhong didn't mention it. Kong Xiaoming's face darkened. "Go and find out who this car belongs to." "Oh, I'm so mad." Kong Mingming felt like he was being humiliated. He originally thought that Guan Xin didn't accept his confession because she was too pure. She was like a blank sheet of paper. She had never been in a relationship before, so she was subconsciously on guard. But now, it didn't seem to be the case. Zhu Xiaozhong and Wang Shubing didn't have much of a relationship in Songshan. However, in Donghai City, they relied on Kong Mingming to know a lot of people. They made a phone call and got the information of the car from a friend who worked in the insurance business. "Young Master Ming, this car belongs to Ming Yang Pharmaceutical Company, Ltd." Zhu Xiaozhong told the result to Kong Mingming. Ming Yang Pharmaceutical Company, Ltd? Why does this name sound so familiar? Kong Mingming frowned and muttered the name. Chapter 857. Kong Mingming's visit. Yes, that's right. Kong Mingming also remembered after Wang Shubing's reminder. So, that man just now could be Guan Xin's father? It should be, or else he would be her father's driver. Wang Shubing nodded. "Master Ming, I suddenly thought of something. If you visit Guan Xin's father, Guan Xiaoxiang, it might be more effective than visiting Guan Xueming." "Oh, why do you say that?" Kong Mingming quickly asked. "Master Ming, your Dr. Kang's medical company, doesn't it work with a lot of hospitals? The first people's hospital and the second people's hospital are the same. Isn't that Guan Xin's father's company?" Zhu Xiaozhong interrupted. "If that's the case, then Guan Xiaoxiang won't offend you openly because of his business relationship with the Kong family. As long as he agrees for you to interact with Guan Xin, then you'll have achieved your goal." "That makes sense. Let's go. Get in the car. We'll follow them and see where they're going." Kong Mingming nodded. Guan Xiaoxiang hadn't learned reconnaissance or anti-reconnaissance, so he didn't notice that a Porsche Cayenne was slowly following behind him. He was still chatting with Guan Xin. Xin, are you busy with work? Are you tired?" "It's all right. Sometimes it's a little tiring, but I like this job." Guan Xin nodded. "If you're tired, then come to Dad's company. You can't be a nurse forever, right?" Guan Xiaoxiang smiled. He always wanted Guan Xin to come to his company, But Guan Xian didn't agree. No, I want to stay here with Grandpa. Guan Xian shook her head. Guan Xiaoxiang sighed and didn't bring up the topic again. He changed the topic. How's your health? Not bad. Grandpa's been in a good mood because of the company, Guan Xian said. Company? You have to keep an eye on your grandfather for me. He has never done business in his entire life. Don't let him get cheated, or he will lose his reputation. When Guan Xiaoxiang heard about his father starting a company, he was a little displeased. When he first started his business, he wanted to use his father's name as a springboard to achieve some results. Especially that Lin Yi. He's so young, but I don't know what kind of talent he has for your grandfather to praise him so much. However, after he expressed his thoughts, he was sternly rejected by his father. He said that he was afraid that he would be cheated by his friend and that it would affect his reputation. Fortunately, he had the help of a benefactor, so he was able to expand his business. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to marry his girlfriend, Guan Xian's mother. Guan Xian's mother's family was against it. Therefore, every time he thought about this incident, Guan Xiaoxiang always felt like there was a thorn in his heart. Even though it had been a long time since the incident, there was still some estrangement between the father and son. Even though they cared for each other, they were not very close. No, Lin Yi is a good person. He wouldn't lie to Grandpa. Guan Xian subconsciously defended Lin Yi when she heard her father's words. However, as soon as she opened her mouth, she felt that she was a little too impatient and blushed. Looking at his daughter's face, Guan Xiaoxiang suddenly frowned. Could it be that his daughter had fallen for Lin Yi? Guan Xiaoxiang didn't continue on this topic. The car slowly drove into Songshan Medical University. Guan Xiaoxiang parked the car in front of his father's villa. Even though the father and son's relationship wasn't very harmonious, Guan Xiaoxiang would still go home to visit Guan Xuemin every time he came back to work. Guan Xuemin's relationship with his son had been like this for the past few years. Now he was used to it. When he saw his son return, he nodded and didn't say anything. He went back to his study and continued with his work. On the other hand, Guan Xiaoxiang sat on the sofa in the living room and chatted with Guan Xian about the hospital. Kong Mingming followed Guan Xiaoxiang's car all the way to the entrance of Guan Xuemin's villa. In order to pursue Guan Xian, he bought a fake medical university pass so that he could enter and exit the family area. Master Ming, it looks like that person is Guan Xian's father. If he was a driver, he wouldn't be able to enter the villa. Should we go visit him tonight? Wang Shubin asked. Yes, we'll go buy some gifts first, then we'll visit him. Kong Mingming confirmed that the person was Guan Xian's father, Guan Xiaoxiang. He was relieved. Kong Xiaoming carried some famous cigarettes and wine as Wang Shubin pushed him to the front of the villa. He rang the doorbell of Guan Xuemin's house. Zhu Xiaozhang was arranged to stay in the car. With his personality, it wasn't appropriate to bring him in. Mother Lu opened the door and saw Kong Mingming in a wheelchair and Wang Shubin pushing him. She was surprised and asked, "Excuse me, are you here to see Professor Guan?" "No, this young master. I'm Kong Xiaoming, the second grandson of Miracle Dr. Kong of Donghai. I'm here to pay a visit to Guan Xiaoxiang." Kong Xiaoming replied. "Oh, wait a moment, I'll ask for you." Mother Lu nodded. She didn't open the iron gate outside, but turned around and went back into the living room. "Mother Lu, who's here?" Guan Xiaoxiang saw that Mother Lu didn't bring anyone in and asked curiously. "Mr. Guan, there's someone who claims to be Donghai Dr. Kang's second grandson, Kong Mingming. He wants to visit you. What do you think?" Mother Lu said. "Oh, someone from the Kong family?" Guan Xiaoxiang was surprised and said, "I'll go take a look." Guan Xian's expression changed. She didn't think that Kong Mingming would have the guts to visit. What was he planning? She wanted to tell her father not to go, but her father had already stood up. She stopped herself and thought, let him come in and explain things to him. Guan Xiaoxiang and Mother Lu came to the door and saw Kong Mingming in a wheelchair. He was shocked. He had never seen Kong Mingming before, but he didn't think that Kong Mingming would come in a wheelchair. He couldn't help but ask, "You're Kong Mingming? What happened to you?" "Uncle Guan, hello, I'm Kong Mingming." Kong Mingming saw that Guan Xiaoxiang came to greet him and quickly said, "I was hit by something 2 days ago. It's not a big deal, It's just a normal bone fracture. It'll heal soon. Oh, Guan Xiaoxiang didn't ask too much. He opened the iron gate and let Kong Ming Ming and Wang shoving into the mansion. Kong Ming Ming, you don't mind me calling you that, right? It's fine, it's fine. Uncle Guan, you can call me Zhao Ming. Kong Ming Ming said respectfully. He wanted to leave a good impression in front of Guan Xiaoxiang, so he naturally pretended to be a good young man. Guan Xiaoxiang nodded. Kong Ming Ming, are you here to visit me? What business do you have with me? Are you here to represent your grandfather, or? Chapter 858. Guan Xin is engaged. Okay, please come in. Even though Guan Xiaoxiang didn't know the purpose of Kong Ming Ming's visit, he was still a member of Donghai's Kong family. They were in the same line of business, and his company had many collaborations with the Kong family. He didn't want to neglect Kong Ming Ming. After entering the study, Guan Xiaoxiang sat on the sofa. Kong Ming Ming was in a wheelchair, so Guan Xiaoxiang didn't bother with pleasantries. He looked at Wang Shubin and asked, "This is Uncle Guan. Don't worry about him. He's my friend. Just let him stand here." Kong Ming Ming waved his hand. "Okay then, why are you here?" Guan Xiaoxiang really didn't know why Kong Ming Ming was here, and why was he here to visit him. How did he know that he would come to his father's place tonight? Even though he was confused, he didn't show it on his face. He wanted to hear what Kong Ming Ming had to say. "Uncle Guan, I'm here to visit you because I'm a little embarrassed." Kong Ming Ming pretended to be simple and honest as he scratched his head. "I'm not here on behalf of my grandfather, nor on behalf of Dr. Kang's medical company. I'm here for myself." "Oh." Guan Xiaoxiang frowned slightly, but he only made a sound of confusion. He didn't ask any more questions. "Uncle Guan, I'm sorry to disturb you, but I have my own difficulties." Kong Ming Ming was a little embarrassed. "A while ago, my leg was broken. When I was in the hospital, it was Miss Guan's meticulous care that allowed me to get out of the hospital so early. Miss Guan's gentleness, beauty, and generosity deeply touched me. As the saying goes, a gentleman seeks a fair lady. I really admire Miss Guan. I want to be friends with her. I hope Uncle Guan won't object." "A fair lady seeks a fair lady? You mean you want to be friends with Guan Xin?" Guan Xiaoxiang's frown deepened. "Haha, you're right, Uncle Guan, but I'm not saying that I'm going to be friends with Guan Xin right away. I just hope that you can give me a chance. If it doesn't work out, I'll leave quietly." Kong Ming Ming tried his best to make himself look pitiful. He just wanted a chance. With that, and the partnership between the two families, Guan Xiaoxiang would definitely give him face. After he finished speaking, he was waiting for Guan Xiaoxiang to agree, but he didn't expect to be rejected. "I'm sorry, but I can't agree to your request." After Guan Xiaoxiang heard Kong Ming Ming's words, he rejected his suggestion without hesitation. He didn't give him any face at all. Even though Kong Ming Ming's words were straightforward, he was polite and honest. It made people think that he didn't have any bad intentions. This was something that he had discussed with Wang Shubin. In front of people like Guan Xiaoxiang, the more smooth he acted, the more he wouldn't be liked. So Kong Ming Ming pretended to be honest. He didn't expect Guan Xiaoxiang to reject him directly. This made Kong Ming dumbfounded. Kong Ming Ming couldn't accept it. Why? He said it so well. He just wanted a chance. He didn't want to be with Guan Xin. Why? Thinking about this, Kong Ming Ming was a little angry. But in order to not anger Guan Xiaoxiang, he suppressed his anger and asked, "Uncle Guan, why? Guan Xin isn't young anymore, right? She's at the age to talk about marriage. And me, did I do something to displease you? Please don't hesitate to mention it. If possible, I will change them all. This has nothing to do with you." Guan Xiaoxiang waved his hand. "Logically speaking, you're Elder Kang's grandson, my junior. I should be able to give you this chance, but I can't." "Why?" "Because Xin has been engaged since she was young. It's the kind of arranged marriage. This has nothing to do with whether I'm satisfied with you or not. Guan Xin already has a fiancée. How can I let her date you? This is completely unrealistic." "Already has a fiancée?" Kong Ming Ming's face turned green. He originally thought that Guan Xiaoxiang had heard of his bad reputation. That's why he rejected him. He didn't think that it was because of this reason. If it was his problem, Kong Ming Ming had the confidence to solve it. But it was Guan Xian's problem. How could he solve it? Guan Xiaoxiang had already told him clearly that Guan Xian already had a fiancée. No matter how hard he tried, it would be useless. Guan Xiaoxiang had already excluded him. No matter what he said, he wouldn't be able to change Guan Xiaoxiang's mind. Kong Ming Ming didn't think that Guan Xiaoxiang was lying to him on purpose. There was no need to lie about this kind of thing. With Guan Xiaoxiang's status, he didn't need to find an excuse to beat around the bush. House Kong wasn't a noble house yet. It was normal for Guan Xiaoxiang to not give him face. So Guan Xiaoxiang's words convinced Kong Ming Ming and made him completely give up. She already has a fiancé. No matter what, there was no way Guan Xian could be with him. Kong Ming Ming sighed and said helplessly, "If that's the case, then I'll have to bother Uncle Guan." Kong Ming Ming, you're Elder Kang's grandson. You were born in a medical family. You're also very outstanding. Don't you have to hang yourself for this tree? Xian is already engaged. This can't be changed. I hope you can get over it. Guan Xiaoxiang tried to persuade him. After all, Kong Ming Ming was Dr. Kang's grandson. Guan Xiaoxiang would still give him some face. Kong Xiaoming listened to Guan Xiaoxiang's comforting words and believed them even more. However, the evil thoughts in his mind suddenly sprouted, and his eyes lit up. He pretended to be curious. I heard that Guan Xian is quite close with someone called Lin Yi. Could he be Guan Xian's fiancé? Kong Ming Ming knew that He couldn't be Guan Xian's fiancé, but he purposely said it to sow discord. Oh, Lin Yi? Guan Xiaoxiang's face was a little displeased. Lin Yi again? Was there really something between Guan Xian and Lin Yi? However, in front of Kong Ming Ming, Guan Xiaoxiang naturally wouldn't say anything about his daughter. He only said indifferently, "You don't have to worry about that." Kong Ming Ming laughed coldly in his heart. Lin Yi, that's what you get for offending me. If I can't get a girl, don't even think about it." Oomph. He didn't show it on his face. "All right, Uncle Guan. If that's the case, then I'll take my leave. Then I won't be sending you off. Take care." Guan Xiaoxiang knew why Kong Ming Ming was here, so he didn't want to have anything to do with him. Chapter 859. She had to marry even if she didn't want to. The housekeeper, Nanny Lu, spent most of her time with Guan Xian and Guan Xiumin. Even though she was close to Guan Xiaoxiang when he was younger, they were still distant now. She turned a blind eye to Guan Xian's eavesdropping. When Guan Xian heard Kong Ming Ming tell her father that he wanted to be friends with her, her heart skipped a beat. She was afraid that her father would mistake Kong Ming Ming for a handsome young man and agree to date her. Fortunately, her father was wise enough to reject Kong Ming Ming. But her father's reason was so strange. He said that she had a fiancé and that they were betrothed before they were born. Was there still such a thing as a prenatal betrothal in today's society? Wasn't this too strange? She didn't expect her father, who looked so old-fashioned, to have such a clever and eccentric side. Guan Xian thought it was funny. However, what made her happiest was that Kong Xiaoming actually believed her father's words and decided to give up on pursuing her. What an idiot. In fact, Guan Xian was wrong. In a big family like Kong Ming Ming, it was natural for the parents to make the decision. Just like the marriage between her brother and the Shao family's Wang Xinyan, it was decided by the elders. Once it was decided, the younger generation couldn't change it. So Kong Ming Ming thought that Guan Xian was the same. So no matter what he did, he couldn't change it. He could only give up. When she heard that Kong Xiaoming was coming out, Guan Xian quickly sat on the sofa and pretended to watch TV as if nothing had happened. Kong Xiaoming opened the study room door and was pushed out by Wang Shubin. He looked at Guan Xian, who was sitting on the sofa watching TV, and sighed helplessly. He knew that Guan Xian was a girl from a wealthy family. Since she was already engaged, how could she still be friends with him? So he didn't even bother to say anything. To him, if he couldn't get a girl, it didn't matter how pretty she was. So he asked Wang Shubin to push him out of Guan Xiumin's mansion and left the place with his tail between his legs. Guan Xian, on the other hand, blushed when she saw her father walk out of the study. She had eavesdropped on his conversation with Kong Ming Ming, after all. It wasn't a big deal, but it wasn't something to be proud of. Guan Xin felt a little embarrassed when she saw her father looking at her. She hadn't done anything bad, so she took the initiative to admit what she'd done. Dad, that Kong Ming Ming was lying. I didn't nurse him. Oh, did you hear everything? Guan Xiaoxiang didn't expect his daughter to eavesdrop. Seeing her blushing face, he nodded in understanding. This person doesn't look like a good person. Don't come into contact with him in the future. I know, I don't even talk to him. Guan Xin said. He's the one who keeps pestering me. And that Lin Yi, you need to stay away from him in the future. Don't get too close to him. You are a girl. You need to take care of your reputation. Guan Xiaoxiang thought of Lin Yi and added. He had always been biased against Lin Yi. Ever since Lin Yi and Guan Xuemin formed the company, Guan Xiaoxiang hated Lin Yi a little. Lin Yi is a good person. He's not a bad person. He's different from Kong Ming Ming. Guan Xin froze and shook her head. She didn't understand why her father wouldn't let go of Lin Yi. I told you, you're a girl. You need to watch your image, Guan Xiaoxiang said seriously. Plus, you have an engagement. If any rumors spread, it won't be good for your reputation. It was the first time Guan Xiaoxiang used such a strict and unquestionable tone to talk to Guan Xin. Guan Xin froze and looked at Guan Xiaoxiang suspiciously. Dad, what engagement are you talking about? Isn't that an excuse to trick Kong Ming Ming into giving up? How did I get engaged? That's not an excuse. Guan Xiaoxiang waved his hand. Xin, you're not young anymore. It's time to tell you about this. Actually, before you were born, your mom and I had arranged a marriage for you. Now that you're all grown up, it's fine to tell you about this. How can I do that? Guan Xin didn't know what to do after listening to her father's words. The news was too shocking for her. She never thought that she was already engaged, and now she had a fiancé out of nowhere. Why not? It's always been like this since ancient times. Guan Xiaoxiang didn't think that his usually docile daughter would question him. His brows furrowed even deeper. Could there really be something going on between his daughter and that Lin Yi? Dad, what era is this? Why do we have to arrange a marriage? I've never even met the person you're talking about. How can I marry him? Plus, it's been so many years. How can it still count? Can you reject it for me? Guan Xin couldn't believe it. She couldn't accept it. Reject what? You can't reject it. Guan Xiaoxiang didn't give her any leeway. You have to marry him in the future. No one can change that. I'm not marrying him. This was the first time that Guan Xin, who had always been a good girl, vehemently refuted her father's suggestion. This was related to her lifelong happiness. How could she compromise? You have to marry him even if you don't want to. Guan Xiaoxiang snorted coldly. He was getting a little angry. I'm in charge of this. Whatever you say is useless. Why should I? I've never met him. I don't even know what he looks like or what he does. Why should I marry him? Guan Xin's eyes widened. I'm not marrying him. I don't even like him. If you don't like him, then who do you like? Guan Xiaoxiang retorted. I just don't like him. Guan Xin almost spilled the beans. She blushed and stopped herself. You like that Lin Yi, don't you? Guan Xiaoxiang, of course, knew what his daughter was thinking. You should cut all ties with him as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'll find someone to break his legs. Your mother and I agreed on your marriage. I owe him a lot. My career today was all given to me by his elders. I, Guan Xiaoxiang, am not someone who goes back on his word. It's good if you've thought it through. Even if you don't, you still have to marry him. With that, Guan Xiaoxiang ignored Guan Xin. He stood up and strode out of the villa. Chapter 860. Guan Xueming, but Guan Xin was afraid that her father would do something to hurt Lin Yi in a fit of rage. She didn't know what to do. Lin Yi had nothing to do with this, but he was dragged into this. Guan Xueming heard the argument downstairs and came downstairs to see Guan Xin crying on the sofa. He paused for a moment before asking, Xin, what's wrong? Why are you crying here? Where's your dad? Grandpa. Guan Xin cried even more fiercely when she saw her grandpa. She'd never felt so wrong before. She couldn't understand how her father could interfere with her marriage, forcing her to marry someone she didn't even know. All right, don't cry. Tell Grandpa what happened first. Is there anything you can't solve? Why are you crying so hard? Guan Xueming didn't know what was wrong with Guan Xin. He sat on the sofa and patted his granddaughter's shoulder. Grandpa, my dad said that he'd arrange for me to marry someone I've never met before. Guan Xin told her grandpa what had happened. Nonsense. Guan Xueming slammed the table. This Guan Xiaoxiang is getting more and more unruly. How can he just decide something like this? Don't worry, Xin, Grandpa will help you. Without me, no one will be able to do anything. I'll call your dad right now. Guan Xueming was furious as well. He was an upright man, but he wasn't one to be inflexible. So when he heard that Guan Xiaoxiang was going to arrange for Guan Xin's marriage, he was furious. Plus, his grandson-in-law was Lin Yi, so he couldn't just let Guan Xiaoxiang marry Guan Xin off. You little bastard, what did you say to Xin? You made my precious granddaughter cry? What's wrong with you, kid? Arranged marriage? I'm telling you, you'd better cancel this engagement as soon as possible. Don't even think about it. Guan Xueming dialed the number and started scolding him. Guan Xiaoxiang froze. His dad hadn't yelled at him like this ever since they'd gotten into a conflict over him starting a company. This made him feel like he had done something wrong when he was young and was scolded by his father. He didn't dare to disobey his father. However, he really couldn't make the decision for the matter that his father mentioned. This was the marriage agreement that he and his wife had made with that nobleman. How could he unilaterally renege on it? Thinking about how much that person had done for him in the past, how great of a favor was that person? If it weren't for his investment and connections, how could he have achieved the results he had today? Can I get the approval of my future father-in-law? He was not an ungrateful person. So for a moment, Guan Xiaoxiang was in a dilemma. Guan Xiaoxiang had been in a cold war with his father for so many years, and he knew that the fact that his father was angry at him for Guan Xin's sake meant that their relationship had improved. If he compromised, then the relationship between father and son would definitely become better. However, could he compromise? It was impossible for him to break his promise with that person. Unless that person broke the contract, Guan Xiaoxiang would never do such an ungrateful thing. Thinking of this, Guan Xiaoxiang could only smile bitterly. He couldn't be loyal and righteous at the same time. What would he do? He didn't want to use this opportunity to ease his relationship with his father to anger him again, but he also couldn't break the marriage agreement. Dad, I can listen to you on other things, but this I really can't change it. This was an agreement I made with that nobleman, and you know him. Guan Xiaoxiang sighed. How can I break the marriage agreement? But have you ever thought about Xin's happiness? If that's the case, then when that person comes, let him come to me. Just say that I broke the marriage agreement. Guan Xueming was so angry that he laughed. He helped you before, and I even helped his wife cure her leg. If he doesn't want to, then he can come to me. If you let Xin get married again, then I'll make sure that she and you are no longer father and son. I'll make her have a cold war with you, just like how you and I did back then. With that, Guan Xueming hung up the phone with a pa sound, ignoring Guan Xiaoxiang's words. Holding the phone, Guan Xiaoxiang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He didn't know what to say. His father actually used what he did back then to threaten him. However, at least his father took over the matter and promised that if there were any problems, he would let that nobleman go to him. This lessened the pressure on Guan Xiaoxiang, but he still didn't want to go back on his word. Regarding this matter, it seemed that he could only slowly convince his father. Now that his father was in a fit of anger, if he called him again to talk about this matter, it would undoubtedly make the already tense relationship between father and son even more tense. This was not what Guan Xiaoxiang wanted to see. Guan Xueming hung up the phone. On the other side, Guan Xin was also smiling through her tears. Seeing how her grandfather stood up for her, Guan Xin felt that her father would definitely compromise. Yes, if it really didn't work, then she would be like her grandfather, like her father did when he was young, and have a cold war with him. Let's see what he could do to her. If she didn't marry, Even if he beat her to death, it would be useless. Xin, are you happy now? Grandpa is on your side. Don't worry, as long as Grandpa doesn't agree, no one can marry you off. Guan Xiumin could still make this decision. Thank you, Grandpa. Guan Xin smiled happily. What are you thanking me for? Okay, go wash your face. Annie Lu is about to make dinner. Let's go eat something. Guan Xiumin smiled and nodded. Guan Xin happily ran to wash her face. She didn't know that her father still hadn't given up on this matter. Kong Mingming came out of Guan Xin's house and got into the car with a bitter face. Zhu Xiaozhong, who was staying in the car, saw Kong Mingming come out with a bitter face. He was confused. Master Ming, what's wrong? What's wrong? Guan Xin's father doesn't approve of you two dating. Don't mention it. It's a long story. Kong Mingming felt that his time and money were all wasted. The worst part was that he broke his leg and gave Xiaofan hundreds of thousands for nothing. What a big loss. Let me say it. Wang Shubin looked at Zhu Xiaozhong and explained, Guan Xin is already engaged to a husband. It was a marriage agreement made when she was young. This can't be changed, so Guan Xiaoxiang definitely won't let Master Ming and Guan Xin see each other. With the marriage agreement, Guan Xin can't be friends with Master Ming. For the sake of her future reputation, she can't do anything that will damage her reputation. So Guan Xiaoxiang has no chance with Guan Xin. Chapter 861. Meeting at the school gate. Of course, it's all wasted. Kong Mingming waved his hand in annoyance. It's fine if it's wasted, but the problem is I can't get Guan Xin, and I can't get the formula. My family is really pressuring me, and my plan has failed. Kong Mingming was very worried that his position in the Kong family would be lost. Even if he told his family the truth, they might not blame him. After all, it wasn't that he didn't work hard. It was that he couldn't achieve it no matter how hard he tried. Guan Xin was already engaged to someone else. Even if Kong Mingming was the reincarnation of Pan, and she wouldn't be able to break the engagement and get together with him, right? But what Kong Mingming was afraid of was that even though he wasn't the one responsible for this, he was still responsible for the fact that he didn't investigate thoroughly. If he had found out that Guan Xin was engaged, then he wouldn't need to spend so much effort to pursue her. Wasn't this a waste of time? As Kong Mingming's underling, Wang Shubin was also very worried. They were bound together for good or for ill. He understood that without the skin, where would the hair attach? If Kong Mingming's position in the Kong family was gone, and his prestige was gone, how could his two underlings have a good life? So it was Wang Shubin's job to solve Kong Mingming's problems. When he heard Guan Xiaoxiang reject Kong Mingming, he started to think about the next step. Master Ming, since this path is not working, then we won't go. Won't go. How am I going to explain this to my family? I said that I could definitely get Guan Xin. Kong Mingming said angrily, but who knew she was engaged? I can't explain this to my family. Doesn't that make me look useless? Of course not. Wang Shubin waved his hand. Master Ming, if you look at it from another angle, then it'll be much easier. Actually, pursuing Guan Xin wasn't your main goal. Your main goal was to get the formula. If you hadn't pursued Guan Xin and gotten the formula, wouldn't you have completed your mission as well? I think Dr. Kong cares about the prescription, not Guan Xin. That's right. But if I don't get Guan Xin, where am I going to get the prescription? Kong Mingming thought that Wang Shubin's words made sense, but he couldn't figure it out. There are many ways to get the recipe. Steal, rob, threaten, etc. We don't have to start with Guan Xin. We can still get it from other people in Miracle Dr. Guan's company. Wang Shubing said, I heard that your brother, Kong Xiaobo, is also the vice president of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. Yeah, I get angry when I talk about this. Kong Xiaobo actually became a vice president. He's even more powerful than me. I'm so mad. He's just a relative of the Kong family, but he's doing better than me. Kong Mingming thought of Kong Xiaobo and felt angry. The news of Kong Xiaobo becoming the vice president of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company wasn't a secret. Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company had already announced it to the media. Master Ming, as the saying goes, when there's a war, blood brothers go to war. Wang Shubin said, think about it. You and Kong Xiaobo are cousins. Although he's the vice president of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, I don't think he's earning much money, right? I think you can go find Kong Xiaobo. After all, he's a member of the Kong family. You can reason with him, move his emotions, and promise him a lot of money. It shouldn't be hard to get the prescription from him. Kong Xiaobo knows the prescription of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. That's impossible. Although he's the vice president, this prescription should only be known by Guan Shuamin and Fatty Lai, right? Kong Ming wasn't stupid. He shook his head and said, Master Ming, your priority right now isn't to find a prescription of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. That can wait. Did you forget about the new mission that Kong Xiaolong gave you? He wants you to get the prescription of Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine and the source of the raw materials. Wang Shubin said, as long as you find these two things, it'll be a great achievement. As for the prescription of the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, we'll think about it slowly. Oh, that's true. The injury medicine isn't that important. Kong Xiaobo should know the prescription and the source of the raw materials. Kong Ming nodded and said, if that's the case, there's a way. Tomorrow, I'll go find Kong Xiaobo and have a good talk with him. I'll get the prescription and the source of the raw materials from him. Master Ming, you have to remember two things. One is to play the family card. You have to let Kong Xiaobo know that the rise and fall of House Kong is the responsibility of every member of House Kong. You can give him some benefits. For example, after you take control of House Kong, give him some shares of Dr. Kang's medical company. Anyway, this is all nonsense. You don't know when you'll be able to take control of House Kong. Wang Shubin said, other than that, you have to give him some benefits that he can see right now. Didn't you give Xiaofan a sum of money before? You can say that you did it because of Kong Ming. This time, you have to give Kong Ming some more money. Otherwise, he won't cooperate if he can't see the benefits. Yes, what you said makes sense. Kong Ming nodded. I got it. Shubin, you really are the brains. I thought there was no other way, and I was going to go home with my tail between my legs. I didn't expect you to have so many ideas. It's my responsibility to come up with ideas for Master Ming. Wang Shubin smiled proudly. The next afternoon, Kong Ming carried a black leather suitcase with 300,000 yuan and went to visit Kong Xiaobo. Kong Xiaobo would go to Dr. Kang's medical company every afternoon. He had already told his homeroom teacher, Teacher Liu. Seeing that Kong Xiaobo had such a good future, Teacher Liu naturally wouldn't stop him. What was the purpose of going to university? Wasn't it to learn some skills and get a diploma to find a good job? Now that Kong Xiaobo had passed this step and found a good job, the homeroom teacher, Teacher Liu, naturally wouldn't say anything. Kong Ming already knew Kong Xiaobo's daily schedule. When Kong Xiaobo left school at noon, Kong Ming stuck his head out of the Porsche Cayenne's rear window. Bro, here. At first, Kong Xiaobo didn't think the voice was calling him. Although it was familiar, who would come to his school and call him bro, so he didn't pay attention. However, the voice called again, Xiaobo here. Chapter 862. The Omnipresent Lin, Kong Ming. What's the matter? But even so, Kong Xiaobo wasn't afraid of Kong Ming. The two of them had already fallen out on the day of the banquet. There was nothing to worry about anymore. Kong Xiaobo called Kong Ming by his name. Hey, little brother, why are you still so distant from me, your cousin? You still call me Kong Ming. You should call me second cousin. Kong Ming said with a smile. Huh? Kong Xiaobo was stunned after hearing Kong Ming's words. What did Kong Ming mean? Did he get kicked in the head by a donkey? Bro, what are you waiting for? Get in the car. We haven't seen each other in a long time, right? Kong Ming waved at Kong Xiaobo. He purposely let Zhu Xiaozhong drive. Wang Shubin sat in the front passenger seat and left a seat for Kong Xiaobo in the back. Kong Ming, what do you want? Kong Xiaobo frowned. Long time no see. Didn't I see you giving money to Xiaofan a few days ago? Xiaobo, you're still wary of your cousin. Haha, I came here today to apologize to you. I was young and didn't know any better. I did some things that angered even the gods. I hope you can forgive me. Kong Ming Ming said it in a nice way, so that Kong Xiaobo could get close to him. At that moment, Lin Yi and Tang Yun walked out of the school holding hands. They saw Kong Xiaobo talking to Kong Ming Ming with a wary face. They felt it was strange and asked, "Xiaobo, what are you doing?" "Boss." Kong Xiaobo was overjoyed when he saw Lin Yi. He didn't know what Kong Ming Ming was trying to do. He didn't want to talk to Kong Ming Ming. First, how did Kong Ming Ming treat Kong Xiaobo? How could Kong Xiaobo not hate him? Second, he used to play with Kong Xiaobo's girlfriend, Xiaofan, and hurt her. Kong Xiaobo not scolding him was already giving Kong Ming Ming face. Kong Ming Ming naturally didn't know that Lin Yi was the manager of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. Until now, House Kong still thought that Xu Min was the manager of the company. As for Lin Yi, he was just a bystander. As for Kong Xiaobo being able to enter Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, Kong Ming didn't think it was because of Lin Yi. From his point of view, Kong Xiaobo must have given Xu Min the Golden Creation Medicine's formula in exchange for the position of vice president. In reality, Lin Yi always gave the same impression to his enemies. He was harmless, as if he was everywhere, but no one knew of his existence. So Kong Ming Ming didn't put Lin Yi in his eyes. He didn't care about what he said or did. He still urged, "Xiaobo, get in the car. You haven't eaten yet, right? Let's find a place to eat." "Boss, this." Kong Xiaobo was someone who listened to Lin Yi. He always followed Lin Yi's lead. If Lin Yi didn't come, he definitely wouldn't continue talking to Kong Ming Ming. He would have turned around and left. But now that Lin Yi was here, he needed Lin Yi to make the decision. Since Kong Ming Ming is treating, there's no harm in going. Let's go and have a look. Lin Yi shrugged. He wanted to see what this Kong Ming Ming would come up with. "Boss, will you come with me?" Kong Xiaobo hesitated and asked. "Ask your cousin if he agrees." Lin Yi asked with a smile. Kong Xiaobo and Lin Yi didn't deliberately avoid Kong Ming Ming when they talked. So Kong Ming Ming heard everything they said. Kong Ming Ming was anxious to find Kong Xiaobo to get the prescription. Seeing that Kong Xiaobo was very obedient to Lin Yi, he planned to invite Lin Yi along. Last time when Xiaofan took his money, Lin Yi was also present. So Kong Ming Ming felt that Lin Yi wasn't a righteous person. At the very least, he was greedy. So he didn't need to hide this matter from Lin Yi. As long as there were benefits, Lin Yi would let Kong Xiaobo take it. So before Kong Xiaobo asked, Kong Ming said first, "Lin Yi, right? We're friends, and we've met a few times. Let's have a meal together." Kong Ming Ming didn't pursue Guan Xian anymore, so his hatred for Lin Yi had faded a lot, especially after Guan Xiaoxiang silently tricked Lin Yi last night. It let Kong Ming Ming breathe a sigh of relief. Now that the two of them didn't have any conflicts of interest, Kong Ming Ming didn't mind having Lin Yi with them. "You guys go, I won't be going." Tang Yun knew that Lin Yi had something to do, so she let go of Lin Yi's hand and said to Lin Yi, "It's okay, let's go together." Lin Yi looked at Kong Ming Ming and said, "Let one of your people get down and follow us in a taxi. I have 3 people. Your car won't be able to fit." Kong Ming Ming was so angry that his teeth itched. Wasn't this bullying? I'm treating you guys to a meal, and you want to let my people get down? However, he wanted to please Kong Xiaobo and get the prescription and raw materials from him. He couldn't afford to offend Lin Yi. Thus, Kong Xiaoming's expression changed again and again. He said to Wang Shubin in annoyance, "Shubin, help me sit in the front passenger seat. Then, you sit in the taxi and follow us." Kong Ming Ming sat in the front passenger seat. Lin Yi, Tang Yun, and Kong Xiaobo sat in the back seat of the Porsche Cayenne. Kong Ming Ming told Zhu Xiaozhang to find a high-class hotel. Then they went into a private room. Kong Xiaobo had Lin Yi by his side, so he wasn't afraid of Kong Ming Ming. Since he was already here, he didn't care about Kong Ming Ming. However, Kong Ming Ming was here to please Kong Xiaobo, so he didn't mind. "Xiaobo, I heard that you are the vice president of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company?" Kong Xiaoming asked casually after Xiaobo had ordered a couple more dishes before sending the waiter away. "What's your order?" "Yes." Kong Xiaobo didn't know what Kong Ming Ming meant, so he answered with one sentence. Lin Yi and Tang Yun stood at the side, as if it had nothing to do with them. Lin Yi snatched the teapot that Kong Ming Ming was about to take and poured a cup of water for Tang Yun. "Do you want some water?" Tang Yun was a little nervous at first. She didn't like Kong Ming Ming. Whenever she saw him, she would think of the miserable Xiao Fun, but now that Lin Yi was by her side, she felt more at ease. And Tang Yun held the cup and sipped the tea. Suddenly, she realized that Lin Yi was staring at her, and her face blushed. Chapter 863. Chapter 862. Strange meal. There were no enemies or small fries, and it made Lin Yi feel that his days were very leisurely. Lin Yi didn't know if this was a good thing. Was it really peaceful, and everything was over, or was it just the calm before the storm? From the looks of it, the latter was more likely. Yu Kuan was crippled by him, and it was impossible for House Yu to not do anything. Perhaps they were planning something. As for the others, didn't Kong Ming Ming come knocking on his door? Lin Yi never believed that a bad person could become a good person without any signs. There was no turning point. Could it be that he had an epiphany? Kong Ming Ming was like that. His attitude changed for the better, and it made Lin Yi feel that he must have some ulterior motives. So, Lin Yi didn't put him in his eyes. He did whatever he wanted during the meal, and it made Kong Ming Ming speechless. Kong Ming Ming, who didn't manage to get the tea, could only retract his hand. His legs weren't working, and he couldn't stand up. Lin Yi put the teapot far away, and he couldn't reach it. "Ahem, Xiaobo, you are a member of House Kong, and we are a medical family. If you want to be a vice chairman, you should come to our Dr. Kong Medical Company. Why would you go to an outsider's company? Wouldn't it be a loss of face for House Kong?" Kong Xiaoming coughed twice and continued. "Oh, House Kong?" Kong Xiaobo smiled coldly. "What do I have to do with House Kong? Other than my surname, what did you think of me? Why? Are you here to arrange a vice chairman position for me in Dr. Kong Medical Company? This? Ha! Not to mention a vice chairman. Even a shareholder is not a problem." Kong Ming Ming laughed. "Isn't Grandpa in power now? When I'm in power, I'll definitely give you a share of Dr. Kang's shares and let you become a shareholder of Dr. Kang's medical company. No matter what, you are a member of the Kong family. How could they mistreat you?" "Oh, I'll have to thank you then. You invited me here just for this?" Xiaobo didn't believe that Kong Xiaoming would call him over just for this kind of bullshit. Give me shares? He didn't believe that Kong Ming Ming would give him any shares unless the sun rose from the west. "Ha, let's eat first." Kong Ming Ming laughed, then pretended as if nothing had happened. He said to Zhu Xiaozhong, "Go take a look. Why aren't the dishes being served yet?" As they were talking, the waiter knocked on the door and came in with the dishes. Soon, the dishes were placed on the table. The speed here was quite good. Lin Yi didn't care about Kong Ming Ming, Zhu Xiaozhong, and Wang Shubbing at all. He started eating when the dishes were served. He even put food in Tang Yun's bowl from time to time. Lin Yi didn't care about anything, but Tang Yun was a bit embarrassed. After all, she was a girl. She didn't have a good relationship with these people, so she was a bit shy. Zhao Ming frowned as he watched Lin Yi gobble down the food without a care in the world. He wasn't happy, but he couldn't say it aloud. He was hoping that Lin Yi would be able to talk Xiaobo out of it, so he held in for now. "Xiaobo, I heard that the main product of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company is also a golden creation. Is it similar to our Dr. Kang's golden creation?" Kong Ming Ming pretended as if nothing had happened and asked casually. "Yes, Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine." Kong Xiaobo didn't know what Kong Ming Ming wanted to do, so he didn't say much. He answered whatever he asked. It wasn't a secret anyway, so there was no need to hide it. "Oh, in terms of effect, it is similar to Dr. Kang's golden creation?" Kong Ming Ming continued to ask. "It should be," Kong Xiaobo said. If that's the case, I wonder where Miracle Dr. Guan's medicine company got their prescription from. Ha, do you know?" Kong Xiaoming finally revealed his purpose step by step. Kong Xiaobo wasn't stupid. After hearing Kong Ming Ming's words, he was a little angry. Kong Ming Ming was obviously hinting that Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine came from Kong Xiaobo. In an instant, Kong Xiaobo understood. Kong Ming's purpose of inviting him to dinner was probably to find out if he was the one who gave out Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. But not only him, Even his grandfather hadn't seen the injury medicine. How could he give it to someone else? So, Kong Xiaobo said coldly, "How would I know?" Haha, if you don't know, then you don't know. Don't be angry. Kong Ming saw that Kong Xiaobo was angry and quickly tried to calm him down. Why should I be angry? Kong Xiaobo said indifferently. He looked at Lin Yi to see what he had to say. But when he saw that Lin Yi was still eating happily, Kong Xiaobo felt relieved. Forget it, Xiaobo. Since we are all from the Kong family, let's not beat around the bush. Brother, can you get me a miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine? Kong Ming saw that Kong Xiaobo wasn't cooperating. His sweet words didn't have any effect on him. He was anxious and decided to say his purpose directly. Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine? What do you want it for? Kong Xiaobo was stunned. Don't you have Dr. Kang's golden creation medicine? Haha, just for reference. The more the better. Kong Ming smiled. How about it? As the vice president of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, you should be able to get this medicine, right? Of course, although we are all from the Kong family, as the saying goes, blood brothers should be fair. I won't let you do it for free. Shubin. At this time, Wang Shubing took out a black leather suitcase and placed it on the table. Then he opened it. It was a suitcase full of cash. It was dazzling. The reason why Kong Ming didn't use a card but cash was because the visual impact of cash was far greater than a bank card. He wanted Kong Xiaobo to accept this suitcase of cash under the impulse of desire. What do you mean? Kong Xiaobo frowned. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't tempted by a suitcase of cash in front of him. But Kong Xiaobo was a man of principle. He wouldn't betray the company for a suitcase of cash. Not to mention, Lin Yi was sitting next to him. Even if Lin Yi wasn't here, he wouldn't accept the money. So he thought that Kong Ming used the wrong method. Chapter 864. Another scam. Kong Xiaobo was about to refuse, but Lin Yi spoke first. 300,000 Xiaobo, take it. Since it's your cousin's goodwill, there's no reason for you to refuse. Lin Yi stood up and took the money box in front of Kong Ming. Kong Ming was overjoyed. This Lin Yi wasn't that annoying after all. He didn't come here to eat and drink for free. He was very useful at the crucial moment. He's greedy, but that's good. I like greedy people. With Lin Yi by Kong Xiaobo's side, things will be much smoother. Yeah, the Lin brothers are right. There's no reason to refuse such a large sum of money. Kong Ming agreed with a smile. He didn't say the last part of the sentence, which was that he was taking someone's money to get rid of a disaster for them. Kong Xiaobo was stunned by Lin Yi's action. Why was Lin Yi asking him to take the money? Wasn't that the same as giving the prescription to Kong Ming? He looked at Lin Yi with uncertainty. He wanted to ask what was going on, but he was afraid that Lin Yi's plan would be ruined by him. Xiaobo, isn't it just a prescription? As the vice president of the company, you should have access to these core secrets. Why don't you just give the prescription to your cousin? Lin Yi gave Kong Xiaobo a look and continued. As for the source of the raw materials, I'm afraid it's not that easy to find out. But try your best. Yeah. Let's get the prescription first. Kong Ming didn't insist. As long as he got something first, he would have the evidence of Kong Xiaobo accepting bribes. Then, he could get any information he wanted. The prescription, of course. Lin Yi patted his chest and promised, "Right, Xiaobo? This, yes." Kong Xiaobo saw that Lin Yi had already agreed. How could he refuse? Although he didn't know what Lin Yi wanted, he could only cooperate with Lin Yi. Kong Ming didn't expect to achieve his goal so easily. He was elated. During dinner, he didn't talk much with Kong Xiaobo. He agreed that if Kong Xiaobo succeeded, he would call him directly. Kong Ming and the others left the restaurant. Kong Xiaobo, who was carrying a box of money, was still confused. Boss, what's the meaning of this? They want the prescription. Do we give it to them? Hey, of course we have to. Otherwise, they would have wasted 300,000. Lin Yi smiled, but you don't have to steal it. I'll write one for you. As he spoke, Lin Yi took out the flyer he got from the restaurant and wrote a prescription for Kong Xiaobo in the blank space. I'll give it to you. Just call Kong Ming when the time comes. Huh? This is the real prescription? Kong Xiaobo was in disbelief. He knew a little about Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. He heard that the prescription was different from Dr. Kang's. Not only did it lower the cost, but it was also more effective than Dr. Kang's. Lin Yi gave the prescription to Kong Ming Ming. Didn't that mean he was giving away the benefits to others? Of course it's the real prescription. Lin Yi nodded, but he smiled. But this prescription is Dr. Kang's golden creation medicine. Didn't he suspect that you know their prescription? That's perfect. We'll just use this prescription to fool them. Dr. Kang's golden creation medicine prescription? Boss, how do you have it? Kong Xiaobo was shocked. I've seen Dr. Kang's golden creation medicine before. It should be this old prescription, but a lot of the ingredients are expensive. The cost is too high, so I changed some of them. Not only did I save on the cost, but the effect was also stronger. Lin Yi shrugged. Now we're just returning the old prescription to them. They already have a prescription for 300,000. Isn't that worth it? That a good deal. Kong Xiaobo finally understood Lin Yi's intention. Boss, you're the best. You just casually scammed another 300,000 from Kong Ming Ming. That's so satisfying. Kong Xiaobo hated Kong Ming Ming. It wasn't just a day. If it wasn't for Lin Yi, he wouldn't have sat at the same table with Kong Ming Ming. He had been wondering why Lin Yi did this. Now he knew that Kong Ming was scammed by Lin Yi again. I wasn't planning on screwing him over. I just wanted to see what he was up to. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. But since he's giving us 300,000, there's no reason for us to reject it. That's true. I was scared to death. I thought he sold the prescription for 300,000. My heart almost exploded. Kong Xiaobo let out a sigh of relief. Boss, I'll give you the money. I'm going to the slums to pick up Xiaofan and bring her to the company. Recently, Kong Xiaobo went to the company to learn from Fatty Lai and Fatty Lai's friends. Although Kong Xiaobo had learned a lot of theoretical knowledge, it was just an armchair strategist without any practical application. So, Kong Xiaobo treasured this internship opportunity. Xiaofan was the same, but her legs weren't very convenient. So, she naturally walked with Kong Xiaobo every day. Xiaofan's house was demolished. Her mother rented a house near the new house. Once the house was renovated, she could move in. Take this money, get a driver's license, and buy a car. Otherwise, it'll be inconvenient for you to take care of Xiaofan every day. Use the rest of the money to buy some home appliances for Xiaofan. 300,000 was nothing to Lin Yi. Naturally, he wouldn't carry a suitcase of money back to school. How can I do that? Kong Xiaobo was shocked. He never thought that the money would be given to him. Although Lin Yi worked under him, Kong Xiaobo knew his own limits. He didn't think about the money. So, when he left, he proposed to return the money to Lin Yi. He just didn't expect Lin Yi to give the money to him. There's nothing wrong with it. Just take it. Lin Yi patted Kong Xiaobo's shoulder and waved his hand. Lin Yi was a person who could distinguish between kindness and hatred. He was good to his friends and bad to his enemies. Even if his enemies didn't provoke him, Lin Yi would beat them up whenever he had the chance. For example, just now, Kong Ming Ming lost 300,000 for no reason. Although Kong Xiaobo didn't help Lin Yi much, Lin Yi didn't care. When Zhong Pingliang came to his door, Kong Xiaobo's sacrifice was enough to make Lin Yi look at him in a different light. Friendship wasn't about taking things from each other. So, Lin Yi wouldn't ignore Kong Xiaobo just because he couldn't help him. Chapter 865. Cured, Sikaginjin Dajo spent money like water these days. He spent more than 10 million to treat Jin Ingjun at Yaowang's place. Although his crooked mouth, lame feet, and the diseases that were transferred to his hands and ears were also cured, Jin Ingjun's body had other diseases. Impotence. After Jin Ingjun's hands and ears were healed, Jean Dajo brought him to a massage center to celebrate his recovery. He wanted to wash away his bad luck, but during the massage, he ordered a prostitute out of interest. Sadly, he became a living eunuch. After taking a few Viagra, it didn't work. Jin Ingjun panicked and couldn't care less. He stumbled to the door of his father's room next door. Jin Ingjun called a prostitute. How could Jin Dajo just wait there like an idiot? He naturally ordered a prostitute as well. After entering the room, he was having fun when he suddenly heard a knock on the door. He jumped in fright and almost had a heart attack. This massage center was managed by Tsi Hua, and he was the one who introduced them to this place. It was said to be very safe, and he didn't expect to be disturbed. Jean Dajo put on a bathrobe and opened the door while cursing. "Who is it?" "Dad, it's me. I'm Ingjun." Jean Ingjun knocked on the door anxiously. Jean Dajo was a little nervous when he thought it was the police or his enemies. But when he heard it was his son, Jean Ingjun, he was enraged. "You little bastard. I can't get up now. Knock my kidney, what's wrong?" "Huh?" Jean Ingjun froze and said in fear, "Dad, you can't get it up too?" "No way. It's all because you scared me." Jean Dajo frowned and suddenly froze. "What? You can't get it up too?" "Yeah, Dad. I can't get it up. What should I do?" Jean Ingjun's voice sounded like he was about to cry. "I've taken 3 Viagra, but it's useless. It suddenly doesn't work." Jean Dajo jumped in fright and immediately lost the desire to play with Mississippi. His lust also dissipated. He quickly opened the door and let Jean Ingjun in. He asked anxiously, "Really? What is going on?" "I know, but there's no reaction." Jean Ingjun cried as if his father had just died. "Dad, am I crippled now?" Jean Dajo only had one son, and he was counting on him to carry on the family line. Hearing Jean Ingjun's words, a huge blister appeared on the corner of his mouth. "Don't worry. Are you sure you have no reaction?" "Yeah, I'm sure." Jean Ingjun nodded. "Look, I'm like this right now." Jean Ingjun didn't care that there was a prostitute in the room. He took off his bathrobe and showed it to Jean Dajo. Jean Dajo was a little anxious. He pointed at the lady in the room and said, "Get out first. This is your money. Don't say anything about this." As he spoke, Jean Dajo gave a lady a bunch of money and sent her away. The lady knew that something big happened to Jean Ingjun and his son and didn't dare to say anything. She took the money and quickly nodded before leaving the room. "Ingjun, when did this start? Were there any signs before?" Jean Dajo asked carefully. "No, Dad. You know that I've been sick for a while. I didn't touch any women, but when I came here today, I realized something was wrong." Jean Ingjun said, "It was still working before. Before we came to Songshan, I went to look for my little lover. So, it happened after you got sick? Could there be any side effects?" Jean Dajo could only think of this possibility. "It's possible. Dad, let's go look for Zhao Yaowang. He's amazing at bringing people back to life. He must have a solution." Jean Ingjun listened to his father's analysis and thought that it was possible. Other than Sequela, there was no other possibility. The two of them thought about it and quickly put on their clothes. They left the medical center and rushed to the floating cloud bar. In the floating cloud bar, Zhao Qibing looked at the money on the deposit receipt and was overjoyed. "Wahaha! I'm such a genius. I thought of such a genius idea. I didn't think that Jean Ingjun, that idiot, would give me 10 million in just a few days. It's so easy to earn money." Of course, Sihua flattered. Master Bing's idea to earn money is the best. Of course, Yaowang's contribution is also a big part of it. I just helped. If it wasn't for Master Bing's idea to change the patient's condition again and again, I wouldn't be able to collect so much money from a patient no matter how good I am. Yaowang said humbly. Not bad. Yaowang, don't be so humble. You're the one who made the money this time. I'll tell my father." Zhao Qibing didn't want to take all the credit for himself. He was a person who was good at winning people's hearts and knew how to make people follow him wholeheartedly. Just like Zhong Fabai and the others, they were all loyal to him now. Zhao Qibing only needed to show them some kindness in exchange for a group of loyal subordinates. Why wouldn't he do it? He understood that even if Yaowang was the main contributor, House Zhao would know that he was the mastermind behind all of this. Yaowang wouldn't take the credit away from him, the mastermind, no matter what. "Thank you, Master Bing," Yaowang said gratefully. Yaowang started learning medicine at the age of 3 and started to roam the world at the age of 15. Back then, he also played the trick of treating patients worse and worse. However, because he offended a rich family, he was caught and almost beaten to death. If it wasn't for the head of House Zhao, Zhao Guangyin, who saved him, there wouldn't be Yaowang today. So, Yaowang was very grateful to House Zhao. He felt that his life was given to him by House Zhao. No matter what House Zhao asked him to do, it was only natural. Master Bing was Zhao Guangyin's son, so naturally, he would support him with all his heart. He didn't ask for anything in return. He stayed in House Zhao with the intention to repay their kindness. Now, that Zhao Qibing was going to teach him Qigong. How could he not be touched? Although he didn't care about anything, he still hoped that House Zhao would value him. But this father and son from House Zhan are rich. 10 million. TSK, it's still a little too little. We haven't squeezed them to the limit yet. If we could squeeze more money out of them, that would be even better, Zhao Qibing said regretfully. Chapter 866. Framing Lin Eo? Really? But wouldn't he suspect something if we do that? Zhao Qibing wasn't stupid. Although he was greedy, he didn't want to ruin his reputation. We want long-term benefits, not Zhen Yingjuan's money. It'll be bad if they suspect that we did it. They won't. I did it discreetly. They don't have the intelligence to find out. Yao Wang waved his hand confidently. Besides, even if they go to the hospital, they won't be able to find anything. That's good, as long as we aren't involved. Zhao Qibing nodded in satisfaction. Of course not. Not only will they not implicate us, but they will also give us more money soon. Yao Wang sneered. Master Bing, watch me. All right, I'll wait for that idiot Zhen Yingjun to give me money. Zhao Qibing nodded happily. Yao Wang was right. Not long after, Su Jianong ran in. Master Bing, Zhen Yingjun and his son are here again. They want to see Yao Wang. Let them in. Zhao Qibing couldn't wait anymore. The more he tasted money, the more he couldn't stop. Su Jianong quickly brought Zhen Dazhou and Zhen Yingjun into the back room. As soon as they entered, Zhen Dazhou raged. Yao Wang, what kind of illness did you treat? Why is it getting worse? Why did you treat something that wasn't sick before? Although Zhen Dazhou was a boorish man, he was meticulous. He knew that it wasn't reliable to blame Zhen Yingjuan's illness on the sequelae. But in order to let Yao Wang treat his son and spend less money, he had no choice but to complain first. Zhen Dazhou, watch your words. Is this a place for you to be arrogant? Even if this is your territory, you better behave yourself in front of me. Zhao Qibing frowned unhappily, but his heart was beating like a drum. Did Zhen Dazhou and Zhen Yingjun find out something? Zhen Dazhou's face froze. Indeed, he was only thinking about Yao Wang and forgot that this was Zhao Qibing's territory. He didn't dare offend Zhao Qibing. It wouldn't be hard for the power behind Zhao Qibing to kill him. So, Dazhou's face turned into a smile. Master Bing, don't be angry. If you have something to say, then say it nicely. Don't think that just because you spent money to see the king pharmacist, you are a god. In my place, customers are not gods. Zhao Qibing curled his lips. Seeing that Dazhou didn't dare to act rashly, he calmed down and sneered, We don't accept normal people who want to see Yao Wang. Of course. Dazhou didn't dare to say anything after seeing Zhao Qibing's attitude. He said with a bitter face, Master Bing, Yao Wang, please take a look at my son. Didn't I cure Zhen Yingjuan's illness? What else are you looking at? Yao Wang pretended to be confused as he looked at Zhen Dazhou. No, he's still sick. Zhen Dazhou quickly said, You're sick? I can't tell. Your mouth and ears aren't crooked. Your hands and legs are working. You're a handsome young man. What's wrong with you? Yao Wang looked at Zhen Yingjun and said, No, it's not on the surface. It's a hidden illness. Zhen Dazhou quickly said, Yingjun can't get it up. Can't get it up? Yao Wang froze. Zhao Qibing and Sihua also pretended to be surprised and opened their mouths wide. They looked at Zhen Yingjun in disbelief. How can you not get it up? When did you find out that you can't get it up? Just now. Zhen Yingjun said hurriedly. My dad and I went to the massage center under Sihua Bro's protection. I just wanted to take a hot shower to wash away my bad luck. Then I went to a prostitute and my lower body didn't have any reaction after taking 3 Viagra. Did you have this illness before? Yao Wang frowned and asked. No, I wouldn't be a prostitute if I had this illness. Zhen Yingjun quickly shook his head. I can't offend Lin Yi for those 2 girls. If you're not sick, why did you take Viagra? Why did you take so many? Yao Wang sneered in his heart. You weren't sick before, but your kidneys are weak. Yao Wang had already checked it before. Zhen Yingjun was embarrassed and laughed dryly. I just don't have much stamina. Yao Wang nodded and looked at Zhang Yingjun carefully. All right, give me your hand. I'll check your pulse. Yes. Zhang Yingjun quickly gave his hand to Yao Wang, and Yao Wang pretended to check his pulse. In fact, Zhang Yingjun's illness was caused by him, and he didn't need to check his pulse at all. He was just pretending for the Zhan father and son. After a while, Yao Wang's brows slowly locked together. He didn't say anything and only closed his eyes in silence. Did he have a serious illness that scared the Zhen father and son? Zhen Dazhou was counting on Zhang Yingjun to carry on the family line. Now that he was disabled, what would he do in the future? Wouldn't he die without descendants? Zhang Yingjun, on the other hand, didn't think so far ahead, but he was also scared. After all, he couldn't play with women anymore, and his life would lose a lot of fun. You're not sick. After a while, Yao Wang spat out these 3 words. Not sick. Zhen Dazhou and Zhang Yingjun widened their eyes and looked at Yao Wang in disbelief. Zhang Yingjun screamed, How can I not be sick? That's the truth. Yao Wang, if you don't believe me, I'll take off my pants for you to see. There's no need for that. Yao Wang waved his hand. I said you're not sick because you're not sick, but you said you're impotent. This is real. Oh, what do you mean? Zhang Yingjun was confused. You're impotent. This isn't an illness. Someone did something to you. Yao Wang sighed and looked at Zhang Yingjun sympathetically. I didn't expect Lin Yi to be so evil. Not only did he make you sick on the surface, but he also made you a cripple in the dark. He's so evil. Huh? Lin Yi again? Zhang Yingjun was furious when he heard that it was also Lin Yi's fault. Dad, this Lin Yi is too evil. I want to kill him. Dazhou was infuriated as well. He didn't think that Lin Yi would be this evil, leaving his son with such an illness. Yingjun, don't worry, I'll avenge you. Dazhou was furious as well. He didn't expect Lin Yi to be this evil. Chapter 867. The price was a little. Lo Zhao Qibing and Lin Yi had a grudge against each other. If he could transfer the grudge to Zhen Dazhou and Zhang Yingjun and let them deal with Lin Yi, why not? Yao Wang felt that this was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Master Bing would praise him again. Of course, we have to treat him first. Zhang Yingjun quickly said, Yao Wang, can my illness be treated? Yes, but it's difficult. The king of medicine sighed. To me, the king of medicine, there is naturally no illness that cannot be cured, but the degree of difficulty is different. Previously, when I was treating you, I already wasted a lot of qi. Now, your illness is not small, and it also needs to use qi. Yao Wang, don't worry, I won't shortchange your medical fees. Just tell me how much you need. Zhen Dazhou quickly said when he heard that his son could be saved. You have to ask Master Bing about this. If I use all my qi on you, then if other patients come, I won't be able to save them. At that time, the loss won't be just a little. Yao Wang said with some difficulty. How about this? I'll treat Yingjun after I recover my pure energy. How about that? That way, the medical fees will be cheaper. This? How long do I have to wait? Zhen Dazhou didn't have much money left. He came to Songshan with 50 million to invest in the gambling boat. But before he even invested, he had to spend more than 10 million to treat his son's illness. From Yao Wang's tone, it seemed like treating his son's illness would cost a lot more than before. He hesitated. If he could wait for a while, why not wait if it was cheaper? 3 to 5 years, Yao Wang said indifferently. Zhang Yingjun and Zhen Dazhou froze and looked at each other. 3 to 5 years? Zhen Dazhou thought that he would only have to wait for a few days, at most a month. Who knew that it would be 3 to 5 years? Wasn't that too long? Zhang Yingjun couldn't wait any longer. If something went wrong, or he couldn't find Yao Wang, wouldn't he be a eunuch for the rest of his life? Thinking of this, Zhang Yingjun couldn't help but look at Zhen Dazhou for help. Zhen Dazhou also thought of this. How could he wait? If he waited any longer and something went wrong, then his Zhen family would have no descendants. Zhen Dazhou gritted his teeth and asked, Master Bing, the consultation fee is not a problem. As long as we can cure Yingjun's illness, money is not a problem. This, Master Bing hesitated and said awkwardly, Sigh, it's not that I don't want to treat you, but life has a price, and she is priceless. Zhendazhou only wanted to curse after hearing Master Bing's words. What kind of theory was this? Life was priceless, and she was priceless. However, Zhendazhou couldn't get angry. He could only hold back his anger and said, "It's okay. Just say it. At least 30 million. Qibing said faintly. Zhendazhou was dumbfounded when he heard the price. Although he expected the price to be high, he didn't expect it to be this high. 30 million. That was earned by Donghai bit by bit, and it was gone just like that. Master Bing the price. Yao Wang heard the price and was in a difficult position. Zhendazhou was overjoyed when he heard Yao Wang's words. It seemed that Yao Wang also felt that the price was a bit high and wanted to help him. Yao Wang was such a good person. Thus, he hurriedly echoed, yes, this price is really a bit low. Yao Wang followed, my qi is priceless. Zhendazhou almost vomited blood when he heard Yao Wang's words. So Yao Wang thought that the price was too low, not too high. Yet, he had foolishly agreed with them. He was truly foolish to the extreme. Oh, Zhendazhou, you think so too? It seems like I'm really a kind person, asking for such a low price. Zhao Qibing shook his head in self-mockery. If that's the case, you can add more of that. Ha. I'm a bit short on money recently. 30 million it is. Zhendazhou awkwardly agreed to the price. How could he dare to disagree? If he didn't, it might become 40 million soon. And 30 million it is. I've already said it. Yao Wang, this is the price, right? What do you think? Zhao Qibing looked at Yao Wang and asked. Okay, whatever Master Bing says, we'll do it. Yao Wang nodded. Thank you, Master Bing. I'll go prepare the money now. Zhendazhou said. Ingjun and I will leave first. We'll come back when we have the money. Dad, why don't you prepare the money and I'll stay here for treatment? Zhen Ingjun didn't understand why his father wanted him to leave with him. How can we do that? How can we let Yao Wang treat you without money? You're so stupid. Zhendazhou glared at Zhen Ingjun and said. Zhen Ingjun had no choice but to follow his father out of the bar and ask curiously, Dad, why did you drag me out? It'll be better if you let me treat the illness first. It'll prevent more problems. We came in a hurry and thought it was a side effect, but it doesn't seem to be. So, I'm thinking, should we go to the hospital and have a look? What if the hospital can treat it too? Then we won't have to waste money, right? Zhendazhou wasn't stupid and had some intelligence. You're right, I was too impatient. Zhen Ingjun nodded. Yeah, 30 million can be used for anything, but if it's used for treatment, it'll hurt my heart. The father and son discussed and stopped a taxi to go straight to the hospital. However, they went to the First People's Hospital, the Male Specialist Hospital, and so on. In the end, they couldn't find anything. The Medicine King was right about his illness. He didn't have any illness, so what could the hospital find? This was all Yao Wang's doing. Whoever started the trouble should end it. How would others know how Yao Wang did it? After coming out of the hospital, the father and son completely believed Yao Wang's words. Zhendazhou sighed. It seems like you really aren't sick. It's that Lin Yi who did something to you. Even the big hospital said that you aren't sick. It seems like only Yao Wang can treat you. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.